You don't understand anything? Okay, let me explain. Wait, who doesn't raise your hand if you don't know poker at all? Let me raise your hand if you've never played poker or ultimate. Well, I just called it ultimate. I'm such a degenerate. Okay, Texas Hold'em. Hi guys. Okay, so you guys know a deck of cards, right? So in poker, you're trying to make the best possible hand, right? There's four suits. There's 13 cards per suit. There's no joker in poker. The goal is to win the pot. So I have X amount of money and you have X amount of money, and we're playing to win the pot. Because you don't have to have the best hand to win the pot, because you can get them to fold their hand. So in poker, okay, so this is really good because it's just a heads up scenario, meaning it's 1v1, right? So you each get two cards. Each player gets two cards, right? And then, hold on, let me do this. Each player gets two cards, and there are 5 communal cards. So when the game starts, you have to bet a big blind and a small blind. Meaning, no matter what, you need to put some money in so that like you're playing for something. The big blind is double the small blind. So whoever is small blind gets to go second. Okay, so anyway, the goal is to win the pot. Each player gets 2 cards and 5 communal cards, right? So let's say I have ace of hearts and king of diamonds, and you have jack of hearts and jack of diamonds, okay? So those are our hands. So those are really good hands. Those are really good hands because they're very strong. So the whole goal is to, within those 7 cards, to make the best possible hand. And the hands are ranked. Royal flush is the strongest, which is like ace, king, queen, jack, 10 of a suit. Then it's straight flush, and that's it's like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, all of the same suit. Then it's quads. Am I doing this right? I think so. Then it's quads, which is like A, right? Like four of a kind. Then it's full house, which is like 3 of a kind plus pair. So it's like A, king, or something, you know, like example. Okay, then it's flush, which is 5 of a suit. Then it's straight, 5 connected cards, like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, that kind of thing. Then it's trips, which is 3 of a kind, like A. 2 pairs, like A, king, and then it's 1 pair, ace, then it's high card, ace, or whatever the highest card. So that is the way that it is ranked. Yeah. Oh yeah. So of the 7 total cards, you're trying to make the best 5 card hand. You're already lost. What are you lost about? I'm going so slow. All right, it's okay. We have a better person. Hi, Olivier.
Hey,
Hi.
how are you?
Okay, so how this works is my stream can now see you, or not see you. They can now hear you.
Hi, stream.
Hello, everyone say hi, Olivier. It's like this. And
What's up, y'all?
I'm explaining poker at a very basic level because some people don't have never played poker. Did I got the hand rank order right? It's royal flush, then straight flush, then quads, then full house, then a flush, straight, trips, 2 pair, 1 pair, then high card.
That's correct.
Yeah. Okay, I got that. So I'm gonna be playing heads up, and Olivier tried to explain some concepts, which I tried to understand, but I'm a much more hands-on learner, so it'll be better now that we're playing.
Um, okay,
Yes,
yeah, so
yes, Adam.
which,
Adam knows who you are, except he doesn't know how to spell your name. But yeah, that is. What do you call it when something is a straight and a flush at the same time? A straight flush. And it is the second strongest hand. The strongest hand is actually a straight flush, but it's the royal flush, which is exactly 10 jack, queen, king, and ace of of the same suit. It's the strongest hand in poker. And I actually hit
uh,
one in online poker once.
you hit a royal?
Once, yes. I made like $2.
Did you use both of your cards or just one?
Just one.
Yeah, it's hard to make a good hand. It's hard to like win a lot of money because it's hard for them to have anything good, you know.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
All right, you ready to start this?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I will try to not use this thing and then I'll see how I do. Okay. So,
You know what? We
mhm.
why don't you, I don't know. Yeah, why don't you tell me, well, no, we'll just play and then you can tell me what you
Let's
have.
let's just try for now, right? Oh, no, hold on. So, I'm supposed to. Oh no. Oh no. Okay, hold on. But ah!
Can you time you out?
Yeah, 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 yeah. My bad, my bad. Okay, okay,
Oh,
okay.
okay. You don't get that much time.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
so
yeah.
so I would say yes, because this is not perfect for the sizing. Oh no. I have to like delete the whole thing. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So you went.
So my
Uh-huh.
raise size is 2.2 big blinds. I think that's a fine size. If you want to use a bit more, like that doesn't matter. I think 2.5 or 2.4. I wouldn't go super high. What did you have that you folded?
9-7 off.
Okay, 9-7 off is for sure a call.
Oh.
So the worst nine
Mm-hmm.
is 9-5. You can call 9-4. I fold 9-5. I call.
Okay, okay. And I'm gonna do 1200. Is that right? Oh
20.
no, no, no. 2200.
Yeah, it's 1,200 on top of a
Raise.
thousand.
Boom.
Yeah. Okay. Call. Check, right? Because I always check.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I think I check. Right, it's a flush board. So
Right. So this is a monotone board, all the same suit. So on monotone boards, this is a kind of a unique where I think you should be checking a pretty high frequency. And when you do bet, I would bet a very small amount. So bet
right.
something like 1/3 pot
Mm-hmm.
or even less if you want. But like 1/3 is always a good, I'm going to check again, is always a good
I'm also
size
going
on
to
this type of
check.
board. Okay. Six of hearts, six of diamonds. I
Mm-hmm.
am going to bet, I'm going to bet this amount.
And I think I have to fold.
Okay, what do you have?
I have a 7-4 offsuit.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. For
Yeah,
sure, yeah,
yeah,
for
yeah,
sure.
yeah. I don't think I could bluff you out from this point,
Did you
right?
have a spade?
Pardon?
Did you have a spade in your hand?
No.
Okay, yeah, I think 7-4 is a reasonable hand to bet the turn because on the turn you made a straight draw.
Yeah, okay, okay. So try to
I
get
checked.
better
I
hands to
checked.
fold.
Yeah, now I had a jack with a spade, a small spade, so I was betting for value with second pair.
So this board is less scary, but because okay,
So you're at a position, right? I
yeah.
raised and you.
So I
So
should check.
yeah, you want to be checking everything that you have. And this
Oh,
board is very good for me, right? Because it's got two
yes.
big cards on it, and you just call.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I'm going to bet a pretty high frequency, and because of the high cards on the board, I'm going to bet a small size. So I'm going to bet this time. Yeah, it's about 30%.
So here I think I would call it. I think
Okay.
I would hmm. Yes.
Okay, seven of hearts. That completes the flush, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Basically, two kinds of cards that I want you to think about that can come on the turn. One is a brick, which means a card that does not
Help the
connect with
board. Yep.
right? And then yeah, not help the board. And then one is, basically not a brick or a card that does connect with the board. This
Mm-hmm.
completing the flush obviously does connect with the board.
Yes.
If I was going to bet again, right, you basically always check, right? You just kind of stay in the rhythm of the
Yes.
hand. And so if I'm going to bet again, I would bet a smaller size than I otherwise would on a brick. So on a brick, I'd probably bet like 9 or 10,000. I'm not going to bet here, but if I was going to bet, I'd probably bet like 4,000, something like that.
So here I
But
think
now
I
there's four
would
of them.
bet a little bit.
Okay.
So
So
now
I think you should use a strategy in which you bet small or big size. Small, probably like, I don't know, 2,400 or something like that. 2,200.
2400. Oh no. Well,
Okay. So if you had bet, I'm going to bet 1,000 and then you can raise to 2,200. So
okay.
we can replicate that if you want.
So 2200.
All right. The only problem is I've added an extra 1,000. I don't think I would call the 2,200, but now I'm getting such a good price. I really want to call.
Mhm.
Uh, Fair. I have a six. I have no heart. I think generally speaking, my hand is not a call.
Yeah.
Um, even though it's a pair, just because any heart is a flush and a bunch
Yeah.
of other beat me. So I'm a fold. Do you want to tell me what you had?
I had a flush and I had tens. But yeah, I mean I had the eight of
So
I had
what was
eight
your
of hearts and 10 of diamonds. So
Okay, that is a very loose call on the flop.
really?
Yeah, well, what do you have on the flop? I mean, it's close actually. I mean, 10-9 is a straight draw because you can make a jack or a
Right.
straight. And 8 is two undercards to the board and a weak heart. It's very close from a theoretical
But
point.
if I fold there every time, you don't always have a king and queen, no?
No, that's true. I definitely don't always have a king or a queen, but I can also um,
Just have an ace and win or
even when
jack
I
or win.
don't have something good, I can put a lot of pressure on the next card.
Right.
So it's going to be hard for you to defend. I think your call is okay. I think it's fine, but it's all on the borderline. So just like in terms of evaluating hand strength, I think it's important for you to know that that's like very good.
This is a 9-2 offsuit, so that was a
Yeah,
fold.
I think that's good to fold. Yep,
Hmm.
I had something similar when I folded, so I'm really
Yeah.
drunk now. Okay, I'm a raise.
Okay, so when I want to re-raise, how much is it?
So I would take my bet and multiply it by 4. So this is kind of easy. I would basically make it 10,000.
8,800?
Yeah, well, yeah, maybe a bit more. Maybe if you multiply by 4.5. Yeah, between 9 and 10,000, I would make it. Yeah, that's the size I'd make it. Okay. So I have ace six offsuit,
Mm-hmm.
right? They're not the same suit. So this is a hand that I fold to display. Even though
Okay.
I have an ace in it,
I
it's
have
just a hand that plays
king,
very
queen
poor.
suited, so it was a
Yeah,
good
perfect.
one.
Perfect. That's perfect. Perfect.
Hmm. So this one I would raise um, just normally, so 2,200. Oops.
Okay. All right. So now we are going to put you in the same spot that I was just in. Wait, is that 10 or that's not 100, right? Okay, sweet. Your turn.
So here I think I would call it, maybe not. I don't. I think I would. I've two fours.
Let's do it. Oh, two fours for sure call. Any pair
Okay.
for sure.
Okay. Oh
Yeah, 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 yeah.
boy.
Oh,
All
this
right.
is an interesting board, actually. I mean, now
Mm-hmm.
that I know what you have, it makes it easier for me to play. But I'm trying to think how I would normally play this particular hand on this
Okay.
particular board. Uh, let's
I
do
feel
this
like you have more often aces and kings, no? Or is
for
that
sure.
wrong?
Yes, that's for
So
sure
that's
right.
not that scary. So here I would check, right? Because oh no, I would bet, right? Oh no, I don't know.
Yeah, I think this hand is not a good hand for you to bet.
Because better hands are going to fold that
Yeah,
I
and
can
also
keep with
it's
value.
it's very hard for your hand to,
Pardon?
and I think it's very hard for your hand to get better.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
And also, like, a lot of people,
Ooh.
um, a lot of people, they interpret checks incorrectly. At least from good players, they think a check just means that somebody doesn't have anything. So it's like, oh, I have a pair. If he check, he probably doesn't have one, so I can bet and try to win the hand. But I'm going to check a lot of pairs here. Oh, I should have bet. I meant to bet. I have a very, very good hand.
Yeah, I was gonna say, oh, hey, I kind of thought you had like ace king or like king nine would win, or just like anything really that you would bet there would probably win. So I was probably
Yeah,
gonna fold
so
no matter what.
it's definitely a terrible like run out for you.
Yeah,
Like it's
yeah, yeah. Hmm.
nothing to consider betting. But I am definitely going to also be bluffing that situation sometimes because I have so many good hands.
This one I fold. It's a 10-5 offsuit.
Perfect. Yep.
This one I bet 2,200. So
Raise.
my
Yeah.
chat doesn't know, but so basically there's like ranges in poker, um, that you want to bet and fold. So for example, like aces are just really strong, right? So two aces would be very good. So this is I know there's two hearts, but it's like fairly dry, right? So actually,
Yeah. So this is dry with a high part on it. So this
yeah,
is a board where you want to bet a high frequency and a small
yes.
size.
So I want to. Oh, I didn't mean to do 1,000, but it
And
just
that's actually fine. Like I would probably make it 13 or 1400.
yeah. I just
Um,
clicked the bet and then it was 1,000. I just took the bet.
Yeah, so I think my hand is somewhat close. I have the 10 of diamonds and the 8
Mhm.
of clubs.
Mhm.
If one of my cards was a heart, I would probably either call or even check raise.
Right.
This is a reasonable candidate to check raise because I have the 7, 8, 10, 3 cards in a row.
Yeah.
So my 8 and the 10 are above the 7, plus they have some straight draw potential. And it's a bit weak to call. So the hands that are on the borderline of being a bit weak to call are like decent raise candidates.
Okay. Ooh, I like this hand. I will raise it to 2200. And I'm always opening with 2200, right?
Yeah, I think
This
just using
way-
the same size
This way you
makes a
don't
lot.
show like your range. Because if I like made
Yeah,
it bigger
you-
when I have aces, then it's like, oh, well, it's gonna be a good hand, right?
Yeah, so a key concept in poker is trying to either disguise your hand or be consistent, so you don't give stuff away. So just using the same size. Ooh, good luck to you. All right, so this is a board I think I can bet. Um,
Okay, well, this is an interesting one. I have no idea what I'm supposed to do here to respond. So I have 10 queens suited,
what suit?
hearts,
Yeah, for sure call.
because you want to. Ooh.
So okay, so this is a really interesting spot. I think my hand is not a continue, not a bet, so I'm gonna check.
And I would try to bet, right? Because I have a draw, so it's not a full bluff. And also, I want better hands to fold.
Yeah, this is close. I think this is a spot people tend to over bet. I think betting is fine. So yeah, if you want to bet, that's fine. I
Activate
think
extra time. How do you change your bet size?
when
see
you
it.
click on
I get
bet, there should be like a little number thing, and then you can delete the number and write your own number.
Would you do like a half pot? Okay.
Yeah,
we'll
I think
do it.
that's the right size. Yeah, I think that is a very good size. I mean, obviously I know what you have, but I think I would call here, frankly.
Okay.
I'm trying to think. My hand is interesting. I could have. I think my hand plays better.
I
And
missed.
the reason my hand plays better as a call is specifically because of the types of hands that you have.
And I would
Um,
not bluff again, right?
I think with hearts, yeah, I think your hand can play as a bluff. Frankly, I think it's. I
I
think it
mean,
can
but
go.
you would. I mean, no one has, so it's kind of a weird one.
Well, sure. If you bet again, then full, because I'd probably call a river bet with my particular hand. Like I only have ace high.
So if I
but
bet
it's
again,
still-
you would have folded?
I mean, yes. I mean, because I would have. I wouldn't have acted on the fact that I knew your hand was.
Right.
I would have tried to play the way I would have normally played, in which I would have called the turn and then folded the river on improvement. So the issue with betting your hand, right, is that if I check raise all in, like you're in a terrible situation, right?
Yes.
Like the last thing you want to do is for me to go all in when you bet there.
Yeah.
So you're right. You have equity. You have a flush draw, and you will get some better hands to fold. That was exactly the right way to think about it.
Yeah.
But you have to be a little bit careful in that type of situation because you do risk me going all in. Now, I think against Alexandra, you are less likely to get that type of betting scheme from her, where she bets and then checks the turn and then check raises all in. That's like you don't see that as much. But still,
Sorry. Would you continue with 310 diamonds? Oh, nope. Too late.
I think I think your intuition is like pretty good because
I wanted to fold it because I
It's
don't
an
think.
interesting hand to have 310 diamonds. I think I would probably every once in a while check raise, and then mostly fold.
Yeah.
But it's close. I mean, that's a very close one. I think Jack 3. Let's call or check raise.
Okay.
All right, I'm gonna call, check. So this is a low and connected board. So I
Yeah,
would use
so-
I would check more often, but when I do bet, I would bet a larger size, like half pot. You could bet larger, but I think half pot is fine.
I think I will check.
Okay, so now I'm going to that.
So here I have ace queen.
Yeah, it's very interesting. I think you mostly have to fold ace queen. I think you could consider calling. The problem, of course, is that you are beating some of my bluffs, right? Like the hand I have
Yeah.
right now, I have 8-3 of spades. So
But
I
you have
straight,
draws. Yeah.
right. So I have draws, but also some of my other hands have you completely crushed.
Yeah,
Like if I have
exactly.
a spade or two pair, and then you hit an ace or a queen, like uh, you have to fold. And then if you don't hit an ace or a queen and I bet again, it's also a kind of difficult spot for you.
Yeah.
So I think it's absolutely fine to just to play your hand the way that you did. So this is 10 high board, and I think this is a board that if and when I bet, I should bet pretty large. I would probably bet 3/4 pot on this board, because it's kind of not, relatively low cards, and so my good hands benefit from protection, and it's not that connected. I think I'm going to check this one.
Oh. I always check, right?
No, here, after I've checked, now you should start to be much more aggressive.
Okay.
Because I've given up the betting lead. And so now you can, I'm basically saying I don't have very many very good hands. Like I would never check two jacks or two queens or two kings or ace 10 or something really good.
Right, right.
And you can still have all those really good hands because you're always checking the flop, right? So you can now seize the initiative and start to bet if I check.
So what if I bet like, could I bet like half pot here?
I think half pot is fine. But I actually have a pretty good hand. I'm trying to think if I should call or raise with my hand. Half pot is actually really interesting sizing. If you bet smaller, I'd probably raise. I have this weird feeling you have a knot, but I guess I'll just call with my hand.
I just
Okay,
had an
so
ace.
I would never ever bet that particular hand. And so this is why. When you bet ace 3, tell me why you were betting.
I get like nines to fold and twos to fold, maybe.
Okay, so you're bluffing.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think the problem with betting ace high is that, first of all, you actually have a chance to just win. Like, it goes check, check, and sometimes ace high is the best hand.
Right.
So you never want to, not never, but you almost never want to bet a hand that if you check, you have some non-zero chance to win. And the main reason for that is because you have so many other candidates of hands that you could be bluffing with. Hands that have absolutely no chance to win. 6 high, 7 high.
Okay.
Even,
Yeah.
even like
That you
jack
need
high.
them to fold to win.
Well, yeah, just if you have those hands, those are better candidates to bluff with
Alright.
than ace high. Okay, so this is a high ace high board. I can bet, whoops, a high frequency. I would have bet 1300 normally, but I did the same thing you did before.
And if I have just king high, you would just continue, right?
To this sizing, I'd probably continue most, if not all, of my king highs. Okay, so this is a board. This is a card that connects with the board.
Yeah.
So I'm going to bet, if I bet, I'm going to bet a bit smaller than if it was a brick. If it was a brick, I would bet very, very large, like 8 or 9,000. I happen, in this particular case, to have the nuts. I have jack 8, so I have a straight. But that's not going to influence how I bet, right? I'm going to think about how this card influences my range. Like,
Yeah.
ideally, I would like to bet very big. If I wanted to, I could include some very large bets here, but that's a much more complicated strategy. So instead, I just bet the same size with. Whoops, I meant to bet that. But anyway, yeah.
Well, here I have nothing, so like I would always just check.
Oh, you don't have nothing. Oh, hold on. That's the thing. You don't actually have nothing. You have king high. Like it feels like nothing, but it heads up, it's not nothing.
Yeah, yeah.
You can actually win with king high.
Right.
And you should have some weaker hands. In truth, because the 10 came, you don't have that many weaker hands. So it's somewhat reasonable to consider bluffing with it, but I think you should have some weaker hands, like queen x of backdoor flush draw, queen x of hearts or whatever. Oh, I had 2 kings there.
I
Let me
had
see if I can-
8-3
Let me
offsuit.
see if we can change the time that it's giving us. Ooh, I can. Time bank length, time decision. Okay, yeah, let's do this instead. Update on the next hand. Okay, let's see if this works. Okay, I'm gonna fold this. I have 3/8 offsuit, so that's a fold.
Okay.
All right, so actually this is interesting, right? Because now the stack sizes are different. Now you have 50 big blinds instead of a 100 big blinds. And it's really, really, really important. Like one of the most important things is to keep track of how many blinds the player with less chips has, right? That's called the effective chip stack. So we are playing different poker now. We're playing 50 big blind poker rather than 100 big blind poker. One big difference is going to be your 3-bet, right? Your re-raise strategy. So the range that I sent you to re-raise with.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about this a little bit more. But one way to think about it at 50 big blinds is that when I raise and you re-raise, now I have a much more reasonable option of responding with all in. Okay, this is a very good bet size.
Yeah, because
You
it's connected, right? And there's two
Well, it's
clubs,
not,
so
if it was more connected, I'd want to bet a bit smaller, like if the five was a nine or a seven.
yeah, but
But
it's
it's
two
it,
clubs and it's connected, right? So
yeah, and it's 10 high. That's a big part of it, right? If it was king high or ace high, we'd want to bet smaller.
yeah,
I think I just what
I
did you
had
have?
9-5 offsuit, no clubs,
That's interesting.
because I
That is a
think
hand.
I'd have to try to get better hands to fold in that spot.
So you will never get a better hand to fold than a five.
Oh,
You know what I'm saying? Like that's
yeah,
just
but like,
that's
but like the longer I'm in a hand with like an ace or king, isn't it worse for me?
the longer you're in a hand with an ace or a king. What does that mean?
Like if I let you see cards for cheap, isn't
Oh,
that
okay,
worse for
yes,
me?
yes. So you benefit from protecting your hand. But I just want, but I think it's important to be all right. So this is queen high disconnected, so I get to bet quite small here. I just think it's important to like just to be clear on the reasons we're betting, right? So if you're saying you're betting for protection to protect your hand,
Yeah,
okay, fine. Like I don't mind that as a reason to bet. But if you're saying you're betting because you think a better hand will fold, that I disagree with. I don't think any better hands will fold, and I don't think you bet to get better hands to fold if you're bluffing, but you're not bluffing when you have a pair,
yeah.
or you shouldn't be. All right, so this is a really interesting card, and the general dynamic when the second card pairs is that it generally favors the person who calls rather than the person who bets. Not always, but generally. So I'm not going to bet a high frequency here, and when I do, I'm going to bet small, but instead I just check with my
So
hand.
here, if I wanted to bet, I would bet a smaller size because of the board.
Well, I think a small and a large bet makes sense, right? Sometimes you have a five, so you have three fives and you want to bet really big. Sometimes you just are trying to maybe bet a queen. No, maybe not a lot of small bets work. I mean, I'm not sure how to play a queen in this spot. It's kind of weird, actually. But sometimes you have an ace, right? The check call the flop.
I'm gonna bet half.
Yeah, I think half pot is okay. Again, I have an ace. I got river top pair. Feels like it's the best hand. I maybe could possibly raise here because I have a four kicker, but I don't have a kicker because the kicker's on the board, right? It's
Right.
ace, two fives, and a queen.
Yep.
But I don't know, just in case you have a five and maybe you're just bluffing. So I'm just gonna call.
I have a 5. So over here, should I have bet on the second 5? I was hoping you would bet and then I would re-raise.
Yeah, I think it's a bit dangerous to raise your hand if I bet the turn, actually. Just because
Really?
well, your kicker's not great, and like I said, I'm not going to be betting that often. It's fine. You have three of a kind, like it's fine. But against Alex, it's definitely good. But like against me, like if you raise and get a lot of action from me, like you're going to be beat sometimes for sure.
Right.
I'm just not betting. I know the five is good for you. I'm not going to be betting them. Also, one thing you want to make sure you do is you want to make sure that you win enough when you are lucky enough to make really good hands.
Yeah.
So, I meant to raise that. But so you had a really really good hand, and you actually had a great situation because I actually rivered an ace. So if you bet 7 or 8,000, like I have to call with my ace.
Right.
Um, now the key is that you're also using that size as a bluff
Yes.
sometimes. But just trying to think about what your hands like what your range looks like. I know it's hard to do without a lot of experience, but like sometimes you're bluffing, right? You have a straight draw that missed or king high or something like that, and sometimes you have a really really good hand like three of a kind. So that's called being polarized, where the range that you want to bet is sometimes very very strong and then sometimes bluffs. And when you're very polarized, you want to choose a large size. So I would probably bet like pot or larger a little bit
Okay.
if you want. Your bet is fine. Like I'm not. This is a very subtle thing that I'm saying, but if you can win more, like we want to win more. And I just think understanding the concepts will help you. And this is actually a good format. I think this is good for learning.
Man. I'm supposed to go in on this one, but I don't like my hand. You can go off feeling sometimes, right?
You can do whatever makes you comfortable. Like
I had a jack
I,
4, which is right on the cusp.
Yeah, so I think the one thing that's important to know about the cusp hands is that the reason they are cusp hands is because they only generate a little bit of value,
Yeah.
right? So I think folding is absolutely fine. Um, and yeah, if you want to like go on like certain feelings you have, like I trust your instincts.
So here to bet, I would want it to be more. So I
So
would bet
you
three
again, you're
fourths.
at a position and you call the raise. So I think
Oh, so we're
you want to
checking.
check all your hands. I know it feels like you want to bet sometimes because you're like, oh, my hand is vulnerable. I don't want him to check and another card to come, or I have a really good hand. I want to start building the pot. But it's really difficult to to balance your strategy when you do that, and it's just really much simpler and more effective to just check. Okay, so again, really interesting turn card
Mm-hmm.
because it pairs the second card. So this is a card that does favor you, and if you want to lead out with some hands, like that's perfectly reasonable. It's again hard to figure out exactly what the strategy should look like overall. Obviously, some 7x
Would it
and
be
maybe
a
some.
small bet or a bigger bet?
I think a small bet on the turn here, and
So
then maybe a
half
bigger
pot?
bet even smaller. I think like maybe
So
22 between 2 and 3,000, something like that.
so that much.
Yeah, this like the way you've played this hand looks like you're an elite pro, by the way. To check call and lead on this card, like this is some elite stuff. I have to call, so good luck. That is an interesting card, right? Any eight becomes a
Mm-hmm.
straight.
So now I would want to lead with a
I don't
what
know. I don't
size?
know. I think you can. I think sometimes when you played your hand this way, you have a very good hand, right? You have a straight. Sometimes you have a full house. A seven is an interesting hand because it's good, but now it's not as good because any straight beats it. So again, I think betting small and sometimes large makes sense. And if you're
So like
bluffing,
half
kind of
pot.
adding, yeah, you really like the half pot size. This is a very difficult spot for me. I have queen nine, so that's my hand. I have queen nine.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Pair, and then I had a top pair that was less good when the seven came, and now the 10 comes.
Mm-hmm.
My hand's really not that great. Um, if I was like actually playing you in a match, I would really hate the spot because I wouldn't be sure like if you were
Bluffing or not? Is that how you
yeah, just
would
potentially
confirm
even
it?
betting the hand that's worse than mine
Mm-hmm.
without because I don't even know. Like I would never bet a hand like just the worst nine or even some weird 10, Jack 10 or something.
I
I'm full.
I bluffed it, but I made you believe it, right?
What did you have? What did you have?
I had king two offsuit.
You had king 10?
King two offsuit.
Okay, yeah, so yeah, I mean I think the turn and the river are fine. Very risky by the way. Um, but the flop you absolutely cannot you can't call my bet on the flop with king two. Like you just have
Oh,
absolutely
I had technically a backdoor flush draw, but yeah.
you had the king of hearts or the deuce of hearts?
King of hearts, I think.
Okay, yeah, king of hearts. That's interesting. Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, I think it's okay. You gotta be real careful though. Yeah, you
Oh,
gotta be real careful. You
re-raise.
don't wanna do that.
I fold
Yeah,
these.
I have a good hand. I had Jack 10 of spades.
I have 4 9 of diamonds.
Yeah, that's I think correct to bet to raise and then fold.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, so I think your intuition about how you played the hand after the flop is quite good. You like seized an opportunity that was strategically in your favor and took advantage of it. It's like I think that's really good. Oh, this is super interesting. I have a really borderline. All right, I have a queen in my hand. What do you think my other card is to make it borderline? Different suit.
9 or 10?
Okay, that's great. I have a nine. A 10 is an automatic call. 10 is always a call, and a nine is close.
Oh.
Uh, so your intuition is again spot on. That's great. I am going to fold.
I had ace 5 suited, which is
Perfect.
half the time, right? But yeah.
Yeah, it's perfect. That's perfect.
Uh, okay. Raise 2200.
Okay, I'm going to fold. I have 7-4 offsuit, so I'm
I had
folding.
9 queen. I like
Cool.
9 queen. Oh, it's your hand from last hand.
Yeah. Man, we're getting so much in, actually. This is good.
Call.
in a lot of situations. Okay, so
This
ace
board is
high.
interesting. It's ace high and connectors, huh?
Yeah, the connection is a bit less relevant than some other connections. The
Yeah, because
reason
it's
for
only
that,
3-5.
yeah, and also because you should not have any 3-5, right? If I raise and you call, you should have the sum of the three, the 3-5 that's suited, but the 3-5 offsuit is a hand that you should be folding, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's an interesting dynamic where the particular hand that makes a straight is a hand I have and you don't have,
Right.
or I have much more of. Now, in general, my betting strategy on the flop is very similar to what we've been talking about, so I'm going to bet quite small, and I'm going to
Mm-hmm.
bet a lot of hands. This hand is usually going to be a hand I bet, almost always, I would say. Um,
I think I fold this. I have 8-10 offsuit, so I don't think I
yeah,
can do anything with it
yeah,
for
for
this
sure.
board.
Fold. I have 6-3 of diamonds, so I don't have a backdoor flush draw, but obviously I have a
Yeah,
straight
you need.
draw.
Yeah. But
I'm happy.
oh,
And
I
you have
have
something good?
a no. I
Uh,
have the hand I needed last hand. 5-3 offsuit.
5-3, I think, is one of the cusp hands when you're the one raising. So you can definitely raise that one if you want.
Oh, that
Uh,
one is really.
Yeah, that's like the cusp hand. Yeah, I think we were talking about it yesterday. You were like 5-3, but not Jack Deuce or something.
Right. You're right. It's exactly
Yeah,
5-3.
yeah, 5-3 is
Okay, well
is
this one
that.
is the fold. 8-2.
Like 4-3 is a fold, 6-3 is a
Mm-hmm.
fold, and 5. And again, it's so close that it
It
doesn't
doesn't
matter. Like
matter
if
too much.
you want to
Yeah.
play it,
This one is good. 2200.
my hand is. How am I forgetting my ranges here? Maybe you can tell me. My hand is 10-5 offsuit. Should I play this hand?
I think not when they. 10-5 is a
I
no.
think
It was
not.
right on the
It's not.
cusp.
Yeah, I think not is correct.
Is Jack 5 through 8-5 are folds on the.
Yeah, I think that's well.
That's the range you
Yeah,
gave
yeah.
me.
Queen 4 is a call. Jack 6 is a call. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, Queen 4 and Jack 6. Yep.
And 10,
Um.
6. Yeah.
No re-raise.
Wow.
8800.
So aggro.
I prefer being a little more aggro. I had King 4 suited, which is on the cusp. It was a 50 percenter,
Yeah, that's great. That's good. That's
but
very
I
good.
like it. This one is good enough, so I will raise.
Wow, really sounds like a strong hand you got.
I am just thinking out loud. So this one you check, and I would want to continue a lot of the time. So,
Yeah,
but
first.
on a small bet. So I would
Yeah,
bet like 1200,
yeah,
right?
something
Like a
like that.
quarter pot. So if I did math better, it'd be 1100.
No,
But
but yeah, anywhere between 11 and 14, 1500 is
hmm
all great. It's all good. I have an interesting hand. I wonder what you would do with my hand. I have 2 3s with the 3 of hearts.
Ooh. I mean, I would always continue. I would never give it up. I never give things up. I need to fold
And
sometimes.
probably right to this size. Like if the size gets bigger, it really becomes much
Hmm.
dicier. And I think having the heart is nice for 2 reasons. One, if it comes heart, then I have a flush. Even if it's small, it's still better than nothing.
Yeah.
And then also, if a 3 comes, it cannot be the 3 of hearts. So it's not like you can make a flush when I make 3 of a kind.
Right.
So in those rare instances that I get lucky and make 3 3s, you'll never have also made a flush. You see what
Hmm.
I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I think this is too small of a bet. My sense from what you have when you bet this is that you have something like a jack or maybe a queen, and I would really like to I would really like to get you to
I ha
not.
I had a 7-6. I wanted you to fold.
Okay, yeah. So well, you also know what I have. I
No,
think
but like I wanted to do it regardless of how you played it, right? Cause
sure,
it
yeah,
shows
great.
like
I
it
just think,
feels like you didn't have an ace, but you
but
could think I could have an ace, no?
well, yeah. So I just think in general, like what we want to try to do is we want to try to think. I don't think we should. So the problem, I think, is that the when you have a bunch of other hands that
Mm-hmm.
want to bet, you want to bet a different size with those hands. So I think what is a lot simpler as an overall strategy is to just have one size that you bet when you do bet. So I don't think the size when we bet should be that size. So I think your choice of hand 6 7 is a somewhat reasonable choice. It's not great because you don't have that much potential at all, So there are some better choices, but overall, you have a big advantage over me, and you can take some trash hands and be aggressive with them. But in general, when we do bet that situation, I think we should use the rules that we're using about turn cards. So when the card connects with the board, we want to bet something like 60, 70% of the pot. And when the card doesn't connect with the board, we haven't actually had a situation like that yet, but we want to bet quite large, like over pot, 120,
Oh,
130%.
so
So, okay,
here I
so
should.
here you bet quite big. I have an interesting hand because I have ace high.
Mhm.
Um, I think against someone like you that my impression is that you really like to bluff.
I
I
do
think that
like
you
the
can
bluff.
call more ace highs than against some other people. So I'm gonna have to make you prove to me that beautiful. That's great.
That's
That's great.
good, right?
Yes, that's
Yeah.
wonderful.
I tried
That's
to
great.
play more patient with the 10. I don't know.
No, that's perfect. That's exactly how I would have played your hand. That's perfect.
Nice. I do like the bluff, but I don't bluff. I don't only bluff.
Of
This
course,
one.
you're gonna have good hands sometimes. Of course.
Yeah. I had a 5-2 offsuit, so that's a fold.
Perfect. Great. Yes, great.
Do boo boo.
I love how excited you get.
Well, getting bluffs through is fun.
Awesome.
This
But
one
good
is, I'm
enough.
pretty sure, is a fold. 4-9
Yeah, all
offsuit.
suit for sure. Yep, for sure.
This is good enough. Not gonna lie, I have the cheat sheet next to me, but I'm trying to remember it.
No, I mean, I think for this purpose, it's great to have it next to you. I mean,
Okay.
well, hopefully you know that you can't use that sheet.
Yeah.
when
I'm
you're-
not gonna do it when I'm.
For this purpose now, I think it's good to have a sheet. It's a good way to reference and to learn. Absolutely. So it's a really small board, but it's also connected. So I mean, I think you can use a number of different sizes. I would use a half pot size here when I bet, but
Can
definitely you
I
could
just
use.
check it down? Like, what if I just like don't want to deal with this hand?
There's plenty of hands that you can check.
Yeah, okay. I think I just checked this one down.
Yeah, we're definitely gonna go over the types of situations in which we're not betting this like high frequency small strategy, right? Where we can bet a lot of our hands. And we're gonna talk about the hands that we want to check. We haven't really gotten to that yet, but we're definitely gonna start talking about that.
Okay.
My
Your mic cuts out a little bit sometimes.
Okay. I'll try to, I don't know, come closer to the computers.
Yeah. Also, wait, can you pause this game? Or no? Is there a pause button?
Yeah, I think I can definitely do it. Okay, hold on. Let me see what I.
Because, nice. I think I always hold. I have a Jack 7. I don't know. I kind of gave up on this one.
Definitely,
I think I was gonna
definitely
get out of that as soon as you bet. Okay, so can you pause this? Nice. If we fold 2 Jack 100% of the time, the table can figure out we never ever have 2 Jack. But this is heads up. Like 2 Jack isn't a hand with a lot. It's like equity in the hands, so it's okay if they know that we're folding 2 Jack.
Yeah, I mean that's right. Like some hands they're just not good enough to play, and even if our opponents know that we don't have certain hands that are not good,
Like
it,
yeah.
it's
Like
it's
I'm never
very
gonna
difficult.
play like if the board is like 2-2-7, I can't sell that I have a 2-7 because I would never play that hand.
Right, but you also don't necessarily, as our strategy is based obviously on the hands that we do have and don't have. But in general, you almost never need to be so specific with individual combinations of
Yeah,
hands, right? Like, you
exactly.
never have deuce seven, but like you have ace deuce and king deuce, and you have other hands, and
Yeah.
you have pocket sevens. So it's not like you never ever have a very good hand. You just don't have that particular good
Yep.
hand.
Okay.
All right, you ready to
I'm ready.
keep going?
This one, I have to cheat because I don't remember. Oh, no. I remember. Jack 2 for some reason is a bad hand.
Jack two.
Yeah.
Is that what you
It's.
said? You had the same exact hand that the person mentioned. That's funny.
Oh, yeah. Oh, no. It's because I think he was looking at this. It was paused.
That was the hand that was okay. You're right. You had it on pause. Right. We had it on pause. Okay, got it. It's like that is a weird coincidence.
I have more knowledge. I played a little bit of poker. Doug Polk helped me out a little bit, but it's just like when Hikaru coaches a chess player. Like it doesn't actually matter because, like the intricacies don't matter on me. Yeah, Doug is actually playing in the tournament, huh?
No, you seem to be getting a lot of stuff very, very quickly.
Oh, thank you. I mean, I studied a tiny, tiny bit. This one is fine. Raise 2200. So that board is like meh. There's like two connectors and two spades, but it's like so
Yeah,
if I were
I
to
think
bet, it would be like middle, right? Like a middle size.
yeah, I would say small. The dominating part of this board is the king.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the fact that it has a king on it allows you to bet quite small. I think this would be a small bet strategy.
Hmm. So here, this is interesting. For me, okay, for me, I don't believe that you have anything.
Okay.
So I would want to call it. But it's also a bet that you would make when you just have like a king, right? Or like an ace to get some value, right? But I
Yeah,
don't believe that you have it. So I want to call it. Is that stupid?
it depends what you have. Like if
I
you have
have a jack
nine,
high.
I think it's very close. I think it's okay. Queen high, I think is reasonable.
Mm-hmm.
There's not a big difference between jack high and queen high, but like you
Exactly.
have to choose. Like if you choose all your jack high and all your queen high, you're starting to choose too
Did
much.
you have it? You had it. I didn't believe that you had it.
Right.
Because,
So, but that's the thing is that like if you just go on your kind of gut feeling
uh-huh.
and you don't have discipline to the strategy, you can start to make like pretty significant mistakes. So
Okay.
that's why I would advise, for example, if
To,
you have jack high and you don't believe me, then you just let it go. But if you have queen high and you don't believe me, that's okay. So
mm,
you're combining some like hand-based discipline with your gut feeling
that
as
makes
opposed to
sense. That makes sense.
only
Make some
relying on your
rules for
feeling.
myself.
Yeah, yeah, just because like,
Because
sometimes
queen high is
sometimes you'll
like
have
an
an
ace on that board.
recall.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That makes
And
sense.
I also think if I had an ace, I sometimes will bet that size, but also sometimes will bet big. Right. I would advise you to like there's a big difference between an ace and a king in that situation. Um,
Oh, I have very unplayable hands.
yeah, obviously, it happens, and
It
that's one of the
happen.
things I think that people who don't play poker that often really need to kind of learn from experience is just like a lot of times you just don't have that good of a hand. Now, heads up, you got to play a lot of hands, but like
Yeah,
in
yeah, yeah,
general, poker seems like really exciting, big money, like
yeah.
action, but like a lot of times you just fold and you just like watch other people play, or you're just like
Yeah,
not
yeah,
involved.
yeah, yeah. True.
Yeah, it's just the way that it is. All right, I'm gonna check.
I just check it. I have a king eye.
Yeah, so I think that's a
Ooh.
very good way to play the hand.
Yeah, cause
I think in general on ace queen eight, we should be betting a lot in your shoes,
okay.
but king high is the type of hand that makes a lot of sense to check because you don't have very much. It's hard to get a worse hand to fold. I mean, a better hand to fold,
Yeah.
and you will just have the best hand a reasonable amount of the time, so
Yep.
you will just win by checking. So all those factors make it a reasonable candidate to check.
This is a call. Ooh. I will. Okay, so it is.
Check.
Right, 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 right. You're on the button.
Yeah. With my hands, my hand plays interestingly. Check.
Oh. I just check it that. I'm a jack high. Yeah.
Yeah, I think Jack High is fine. I think some worse hands should consider trying to bluff there, but Jack High I think is good to check. It does have what's called, some showdown value. It will win
Yeah.
sometimes. Not often, obviously, but
Mm-hmm.
sometimes. So you have some better candidates to try to bluff it. Okay, check.
This one you don't bet, right?
I think so. The paired boards we haven't talked too much about. The paired boards I put in the same category as the monotone or all suit boards. If you bet, you want to bet reasonably small. And the 997, I think you could
Okay.
bet a reasonable frequency. You know, uh,
Okay, this one, but I want to bet. So I'm gonna bet it would be smaller, you said? I
Well,
think
now
because it's two clubs, now you can do bigger, right?
yeah, I bet, yeah, half pot or three quarters, something like that. Wow, what do you have, a flush draw?
Well, you know, I had king ace of clubs.
You have ace king of clubs.
It was very good. It was a very good hand.
Yeah, so I think ace king of clubs is a hand that you actually want to bet on the flop. If I
Okay.
happen to check raise, you can actually call with that hand. And in general, it's such a strong hand, heads up, even though it's unpaired, you're actually betting for value. Like I will call you with a bunch of ace highs and some king highs, and you're
Okay.
just dominating all of those hands. So
Right,
I
right,
actually think
right. Makes
that's a
sense.
reasonable hand to
Oh,
bet.
okay, okay.
Yeah, if you had a worse, especially because the board is paired, so it's even harder for me to have a pair. So ace
Okay.
high as a hand goes up in value, if that makes sense.
Yes, I think so.
Uh-oh, here we go. Good luck.
Oh my god, they're all clubs.
Yeah, monotone boards and three bet pots are like really, really very
Ah! Okay, this
super
is really
sharp.
interesting because I have a very good hand, but I wouldn't know what to do. But I would want to. I don't know. I don't know. This one I don't know.
I think,
I'm not out of position, right? So do I check it?
yeah, I mean, checking is definitely reasonable. You can bet quite small. I think it's a good strategy.
Okay, betting small,
I,
half pot, half pot. That might be
oh,
too
but
big.
half pot is actually quite a large bet in this.
Oh,
I think it's it's okay. But yeah, when I say small, I generally mean
one
something
fourth pot, one
and
third.
somewhere
Yeah.
between a quarter and a third. Yeah.
Okay.
If I say medium, then I'm talking about half pot. If
Half
I say
pot.
large, I mean three quarters.
Okay.
Obviously, if I say pot, I mean pot. And then if I say over bet, then I mean like
One
over
and a
the pot,
half. Yeah, yeah, I get it.
120, 130, 140% pot.
Okay.
So I have king 10 of diamonds. Like I have a really nice looking hand, but not on this flop. So I'm just going
I
to
had
fold.
fives.
You have pocket fives.
Yeah.
So, but pocket fives was not in my range to re-raise.
Yeah, it is. It's in half the time.
Is it? I couldn't
Yeah,
have
it's there. It's there. I'm looking at it. It says half point five.
really. Let me
Yeah, yeah,
take a look.
I promise. I
No,
s
I'm sure you're right.
Oh
Okay, I'm
yeah,
just
yeah,
trying
you wrote it,
to.
not me. And sixes and sevens. Fours are not.
No, I'm looking at the range. What? No.
The second chart, right? The last chart you sent me. Five
Yes, it
five.
was.
Yeah, it says
Wait,
point five.
what? I'm looking at the same chart.
Oh, I'm looking at the old one you sent me.
Yeah, you can hold on. Yeah,
Oh, what's oh?
that's okay.
But it's so
So,
close. It was point five before, and now
I
it's
know. It's all good. Again, that type of stuff doesn't really matter, and it's like there's no problem at all. It's probably
uh-huh.
good to have a little bit of two fives in there, but I just wanted to make sure I wasn't like hallucinating.
Oh
That's
yeah,
all.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah.
All right, that's really good.
So
Yeah,
now
that's cool. King
this
five,
is
did you get in? Okay, so again, king high, I can bet pretty small here.
uh-huh. Hmm. Well, I will fold this. Actually, I have five two of hearts, and
Yeah,
this is
fold.
also out of the range. But I was reading the wrong range, so until
No,
right now,
is a call.
five two suited. No, it's not. I'm looking at it. I'm looking at the one now, the one that you're looking at now. Five four suited
No,
is.
no, the one I'm, no, that five deuce is not. So I send you two ranges, right? One is the call and one is the three bet. So you're right that two fives is not in the three bet range, but the other range is the call. So five deuce suited is
Oh God.
100%.
Okay, so
Yeah.
I'm just laying the wrong stuff. Oops.
No, 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 no. I mean, you're doing everything right. But you see the first one that I sent?
You sent me
I
four
s-
charts.
right. So if we just ignore
The first two.
the first two, yeah. So the first one, the third one, or the first of the last two.
Yeah.
See how five deuce you see is there, right?
But I thought that one was.
That those are all the hands you call with.
I
See
thought
how
that.
queen
I
four is
thought.
yellow?
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
you. Oh. Ooh.
basically all the suited. You never fold a suited hand.
This one, I have queen 10 suited.
Yeah. So I've re-raised, right?
So I
So
would just call it?
Yeah. You don't want to raise again with this hand, and you don't
Okay.
ever want to fold. So.
Wow, get wrecked.
Totally. So I mean, this is gonna disappoint you. Like my strategy, my hand is.
Pardon?
So
I'm
like,
sorry, you keep cutting out there.
oh, sorry. I'm saying this is gonna be a bit disappointing, but like my strategy with my hand is to check here. Like, I'm sorry that you have that. You happen to have this hand, but
No,
like I
no,
do
no. But I would bet here, right? I
check.
would always try to bet for value.
So I think this hand is yes, it's almost always bet, and when you bet in this situation, no matter what
It
the
has to be the same size. Like it
yeah,
has
and
to
I
make
would
sense every time. So on this
in,
board, it would be smaller. So like, okay, so like,
on every board that's a three bet pot, and you bet, I would bet the small size
yeah.
on
So
every
like
board.
4,500 is kind of close, right? My math is a little off,
Yeah, it's
but
absolutely fine. That's an absolutely fine size. I actually don't know what to do with my hand. I'm
like
actually
yeah, it's weird when you know what they have, huh?
no. In general, like if I didn't know what you had, I have two eights, with no club.
Oh,
Man, I need to look this one up actually. I'm gonna call. Check.
and I
So
would bet again.
now that it's on check call, now and you've bet small, I think you want to follow up the small bet with a medium size bet. So
Oh,
half pot.
say less. Say less.
Yeah. Do you see how also now the if I call, the pot will be 56,000
Yeah.
and you have the perfect stack to then go all in. See how you're setting up a good sized all in. You're all in
Oh,
weird,
yes, yes,
that
yes.
weird small size, not some overbet. It's
Mm-hmm.
just like right, beautifully three-quarters pot, just like the perfect size. So
Yeah.
that's part of the reason we use this. It's called geometric sizing, is we size up this way.
Uh-huh.
Uh, but unfortunately for you, my two eights are folding. So nice hand by you, but couldn't continue. Uh, but yeah, beautiful. That was a beautiful spot. That was
um,
hilarious. We used to get wrecked. That was hilarious.
sorry.
That was great. I
I'm
love that.
kidding. I'm kidding. Obviously.
It was so natural, but
Such a natural gamer reaction. This
exactly.
one is a fold, I believe. 6-3. Yeah, for sure. This is like barely a call on the button. 6-3 offsuit.
Good. Yeah, I think 6 off is actually not a raisable. It's
Yeah, yeah,
weird because
yeah. Because 5
it's
3 is. I know, I know. I was trying to remember them all.
yeah, it's like it shows you the value of connectedness
Yeah.
sometimes over like straight card value. Call my hand. Yep. Okay. Ooh, check. Hello.
So
So this is going to be a really reasonably high frequency small bet spot for
yep,
you.
reasonably small. So 1100 is literally, I like 1200. I like
Do it.
1200.
Do it. Do it. All right. So this is going to be a situation that we are seeing for the first time. Um,
You're re-raising me?
well, yeah, I'm raising you. You've bet, and I'm raising. Yeah. Two
And
bets
I
for you.
would call.
Uh-oh. Here we go. Four of clubs. It's an interesting.
Interesting, interesting. What you gonna do? What you gonna do?
No. Um,
Here, I would just continue. I would call.
okay. Cool. It's such a funny card. Oh my god, what a crazy card this is.
This is such a troll card.
I'm trying to think about what my range looks like. Man.
It's okay. I don't think in terms of that. I know I'm supposed to, but I don't.
I have this bad feeling that you have like a good hand. I just don't want to bluff into a good hand. Not much.
Okay, what would you, I mean, I have ace king, but I don't
Okay.
have a flush. So
That's a nice.
I would just check here, right?
It's really like if you have ace king and you're checking, why are you like? What hand are you afraid of that I have?
I'm just scared that you're gonna re-raise me after. Like I know you don't have it now, but like that's what I'd be scared of. Because this
Yeah,
board is scary. This board is scary.
right. The board is scary, and I think ace king is an okay check. I think. Oh,
Oh,
you have the ace of clubs too. Wow. I think yeah, with the ace of clubs, I'm even less likely to check raise you. I think it's close. I think you can bet for value there
the reason
sometimes.
is like I feel like a four would actually check there and wait for the re-raise, and also like there's flush. I don't know. It seems
Yeah,
scary. And I had a weak. I had a strong use. I had a strong use. Sorry, But
You're right. It's scary. I just mean once I check, I think it's very unlikely that I have a four or a flush. I could sometimes, but
sometimes
like,
though, right? Like sometimes is it wrong to do that? Sometimes I do that. I check and I hope they bet, and then I re-raise them.
yeah, it just depends on the type of situation. I think that is the type of situation where I'm not particularly likely to do it because I've been showing aggression and then cards that are going to help at least a decent portion of my aggressive hands have come in. So I don't actually expect you to bet very much. I think you have just an ace with some other card, a decent amount, and you're just going to check a lot. So I'm unlikely to just like expect you to bet. So when I check, I probably don't have very much. I think your check is fine. There's no
Oh.
reason to like. No, your check is absolutely fine. But I think having the ace of clubs is a nice situation to try to get some
I
value.
think yeah, that makes sense. Not knowing what you have is always different.
Well, that's the thing. Knowing what I have, I think it's kind of an argument for checking because I mean, obviously, like I can't call your bet,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Like
yeah.
I have nothing, and so if your argument is, well, you either probably have a better hand or
Hmm.
just nothing, then it makes sense to check because you can't get called, right? I don't have ace jack or something like that.
Yeah.
What do I do? What do I do here? I don't know. Fold.
Well,
I had ace. I had ace of hearts, six of
I
diamonds.
had ace queen.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah,
So,
I
but
think
I
my
mean,
hand
I'm betting the same size every time, right? So,
totally. Yeah, I think if you think about what my hand is and how you would play my hand, ace six there.
see,
It's
I
I think my
probably would have
hand.
continued on your hand, and that would be wrong, I guess.
Well, it's close. It's close.
Like
I think
I'm. Yeah.
if my other card was a bit higher, I would have called, or if I was suited and had a backdoor flush draw, I would always call. Ace six, you know, is close.
I had ace four
That's
suited. Dude, I've bet every single one of the point fives. I'm gonna start folding some of them, or just calling some of them. And is it the point five? When you have point five on this chart, I don't think I've ever taken the lower side of it, so I need to start folding some of them. All right, this is a fold. 6-3.
oh, here we go.
Ha ha ha.
So tomorrow, um, I want to focus on having less big blinds because the game is going to change a little bit when we have less chips.
Yeah.
I want you to try to think of the way we're playing now as basically having, somewhere between 50 and 60 blinds or more.
I'm gonna be honest, I haven't really thought about our stack sizes, which I know is wrong.
Well, well, this is the point that I'm making, which is that in the context of this particular match so far, we've basically never gone under 50 big blinds. And at 50 big blinds, 55, 60 big blinds, that's where it starts to change. But the vast majority of our match has been over that number. And so the strategy and the way the game is played is like more or less similar. So that's what tomorrow I really want to focus on is what happens when we start getting to 40 and 30 and 20 big lines, and it's things are going to really change a little bit. So I just want to prep you for that a little bit because this is a lot of this.
Okay.
Again, the way the game is played in this context is a bit similar, but it's going to
Yeah.
change a little bit, and we just want to
Hmm.
prepare you for that. But you're doing really really great. Like
Thank
I'm
you.
super impressed.
This one is, yeah, I will call. And I'm out of position, so I'm gonna check. So this is kind of like your last hand that you folded. I have an ace 7, no heart, but ace of diamonds. That doesn't matter because I can't draw a flush. So you
Yeah,
folded
it's
last time, so I guess I'm supposed to fold.
A7 here, I think, is a little bit different because you do have a backdoor straight draw, and your 7 is above the third card, right? It's above a
Okay.
5, whereas
So you would
my
call here.
6 is below.
Oh,
Right, so this is the type
interesting.
of thing that is decent for you.
So now would I want to bluff because I do have equity in the bluff and I want
I
better
think
hands to fold?
I think in general, when you check and call, there are very few situations in which you now are
Are
able
betting?
to take the betting lead.
Okay,
Um,
then I will check.
yeah, I think, and you're going to get this a decent amount, which is like this card connects with the board, right? Which means
Yeah.
in theory it's better for you. So you're going to get a check a decent amount. Also, if you want to check raise your
Right.
ace-7 on the turn, you could do that if I bet. I don't think it's necessary because actually, again, ace-high is still just going to win
Right,
sometimes.
so I just check it.
Yeah, now actually, like I'm trying to think, like how many hands worse than ace-high do you have? You don't have that many. I mean, you should have some queen high hands. You should have some hearts. Um, I think a7 is a very reasonable check here for sure. Um, you happen to lose here because I have a6. I don't think I would I bet a6 for value? I don't think so. I think I'm too afraid of an 8. So I probably just check. But
Yeah.
I think this is more or less standard way for this to play out.
Okay.
I could check a6 on the flop, but I have a 6 and a heart, and I think it's absolutely fine.
Okay. This one is a bet, I believe. Yes, yes, it is.
So pre-flop, it's a raise, right? Not a bet.
Sorry, raise.
Yeah, it's all good. I just some sticklers, like me, are gonna insist.
Yep, check, check. I would call. Right? Fuck, I don't know. Am I supposed to call this? I have a 5-7.
Yeah. Oh, you always have to call with 5-7 here. You have a pretty good draw, and like that.
Oh, I have the nut. I have the 7 and the 5.
So those clubs, right? So you can definitely be
Oh,
lost.
yeah, shoot. I didn't notice.
No, but this isn't. But you're right in the sense that 5-7 isn't even
Better
like
than the 5.
particularly good because if I have a 5, then you get to like win extra money, right?
Yeah.
Because you don't stop with my 5, you beat it.
Mm-hmm.
My particular hand is not a bet.
I would bet this, right? For sure.
For sure, you're
And I
super
would
strong.
bet half, right? Something like half. Huh?
Like on the river here, you want to bet more. Like with your
So,
good hand, with your bluffs, I would bet at
3/4.
least 8 or 9,000.
Cool.
And I have ace-4. Like
So
my hand
you,
is not
right.
my
And
hand is
it's,
not great.
the board is too scary, right?
Yeah, not just the board, but the river in particular is very bad for me.
Yeah.
Like it makes both the straight and the
Flush.
flush,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and I just have some better hands here, so I probably would not call this hand.
Hmm.
But I think 5-7 is a good candidate to bet on the flop.
Oh,
Because
really?
yeah, you're going to get a bunch of better hands to fold, and um, again, the flop is not a great flop for me. Like it's low cards, so you might be like, okay, well, most of the raising advantage is on high cards, but the cards are so low that like if you look at that at the calling range, right? If you look at
Mm-hmm.
the calling range that I sent you, it has very few offsuit fours, threes, and deuces, and even fives, right? That's where a lot of the gray is in the 5, 4,
Yeah,
3,
yeah,
and deuce.
yeah.
So I actually don't have many of the hands that connect with that board at all. So you could definitely bet a
Right.
reasonable frequency, um, and just expect me to not be able to call very much, and you can put a lot of pressure. So like in that particular situation, you could bet the flop, and if I call, you can really get aggressive on that turn because
Mm-hmm.
like now you have a 5 and you're drawing to a straight and blah blah blah. So yeah, I think you should try to be a bit more aggressive on those low card boards than
Right.
you're into it. Perfect.
Woohoo!
Yeah. So like I have 2 5s.
Yeah, I
So
can't bet, right? Like, there's no way.
your hand's not good enough to bet.
I would,
If
but
I'm
I would
betting you,
call. Sorry, I would call if you bet into me, right?
yeah, I think it's definitely worth considering.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it depends how much I bet and what your feeling is in the hand, but it's
Yeah.
definitely worth considering calling. Yeah, because if you have many hands that are better than that, you're probably just going to bet yourself. Um, Not all of them, but a
Right.
decent number of them.
Oh, nice. Re-raise.
I have 9-6 offsuit, so I'm not.
I
I'm
have
not-
ace-9 suited, which is not a 0.5. I checked to make sure I was gonna fold the next 0.5 one, or just play normally. Raise 2200. No, I have ace-jack suited. So
Deuce
pretty.
5, Deuce 5. It is pretty.
This is a re-raise.
Damn.
I
I have a6 off again, so I
have
don't.
kings.
Damn.
Kings wins.
Beautiful.
Yeah, I just hope I draw like this in the tournament. Who needs to be good at poker? Just get lucky. This one I would bet, and when you bet on this, it would be more because it's like a straight
Yeah.
draw and a flush draw. So I'm gonna bet
It's
3/4
10.
pot.
Yeah. Man, this is a really interesting spot. Okay, so now, I'm going to check raise, and when I check raise, because you've bet a large size,
Mm-hmm.
and because this is a board in which I want to protect some of my hands,
Mm-hmm.
so like I'll want to be raising with some of my one pair hands that you
Yeah.
might not
King
normally
9,
raise.
Ace
Yes,
9,
yeah, and maybe
10
obviously some
queen.
of my good tens. So because I want to bet and I want to raise, and my hands aren't always that good, I'm using a reasonably small size. Like I'm 3 timesing your bet. If I was when I raised on the A side board, the queen deuce, I raised like 5 times your bet.
Right.
You know, that's a board in which I don't need to raise as much for protection. So my value range is much stronger. I'm not raising as much one pair
Right.
hands. If you-
So here, can I just say what I have, or do you want to play it normally?
Oh, it's fine.
Pardon?
Yeah, it's fine. Go ahead.
Okay, I have 8 6 of spades.
Okay, yeah. So this is a hand you could consider raising again, though I think it's very, very dangerous because if I have
Right.
higher flush draw,
Mm-hmm.
like like you're in bad shape, even though you
Right.
have such a big draw. This is a really interesting card,
That
actually.
sucks for me. Yeah, yeah. So now
Well,
I
I
feel like
mean,
I have to play defensive because I want to see the last card, right? Like I want to see the last card.
well,
No?
if you think about though, the thing is that like hands like King Jack, King Queen have improved. A Queen Jack, right? These have improved,
Yeah.
but you have many more of those hands than I do. So this card is actually really good for you.
Mm.
I think maybe my hand is a check.
So, I mean, it's weird because you know what I have. So it's weird because I wonder how I would actually play. But here you
I
would
think your
actually
hand,
bet.
I think your hand can bet, yeah, a lot of the time because you have so much equity, right? So much potential to make a hand.
So it'd be
Um,
3/4 pot again.
yeah, this part is a bit inflated because I've check raised. So I think you can bet
Half pot.
whatever. You can bet half pot, 2/3, 3/4. All those are sizes that are fine. I have 7 of spades, 6 of diamonds. So I had a
Mm.
straight draw with a spade, and it was a weak straight draw. So I thought calling was not particularly great.
Right.
Um, and check raising, and then if a spade came, I was going to be really aggressive. Obviously, that would not have worked versus your hand. Also, if a diamond came, I was
Oh,
going to
that's
be
so interesting because I thought you just had like a 10 or a 9. That's
well,
what
yeah,
I
that's
thought.
definitely going to be part of the stuff that I
Part of the
have.
range. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Part of the range.
Combine that with some stuff like this.
Right.
Um, and also like a lot of times when you have natural bluffs, like some of my natural bluffs are going to be flush draws, right? Two
Right.
spades. So I want to combine some hands like straight draws with a spade, so that when a spade comes, I can bluff those hands, right? I have my
Right.
flushes, and then I have those hands to pair with my flushes. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yes. But you see how if the turn instead of a king had been a 4, then I was going to bet again. But the king is such a good card for you because there are, like I said, a lot of hands that you have that I don't have, or I have less of, like King Jack, King Queen, Queen Jack suited, that stuff. I don't.
Yeah.
I re-raise those hands. I don't call them,
Mm-hmm.
and you always raise with that. So if you see what I'm saying, like I think that card is better for you, so I'm much less aggressive than I otherwise would be.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I think you can also, this is a fine size, though generally if I were betting here, I would bet a much bigger size.
Well, because it's kind of connected and kind of suited. Yeah, that's my
Well,
bad.
it's not so much that as much as the highest card is a 7. So if you think about the way, like your big advantage is you have all these pocket pairs that I don't have, like nines,
Right.
tens, jacks, right? But all those cards really want to get a lot of money in now. They don't want to. Nines does not want to see a jack or a queen on the turn.
Okay.
So you want to leverage that asymmetry in our ranges by betting quite big on this. Yeah, and this I think is a good size. I just have King 9 with a spade, so I had
Mm-hmm.
2 overcards. You bet really small. I have a spade, so I just like call a lot of hands.
Mm-hmm.
Now I have nothing, and there's nothing I can do, and I just fold.
I had an ace 2 of hearts.
That is a really, really interesting hand and bet. I think your bet is okay.
The first bet,
Um,
but I want to bet often, right?
yeah, but can you tell me why you chose that particular hand to bet?
Because I don't. Because it's pretty strong, and don't you want to build the pot? I think I'm more often than not winning that hand. So don't I
I
want to
think
just build the pot?
so. I think you're overestimating the strength of your hand a little bit. I
Okay.
think the problem with betting, I think that betting a hand is okay. The problem that I have with betting that hand is that if I call, I
Have
sometimes
a
I have some
seven or a
sometimes I
five.
have some draws, right? And you're beating those draws. But if I don't have a draw, you're gonna get me like I had king nine, right? So you're gonna get king nine to fold, and king nine's a worse hand,
Yeah.
and every better hand is gonna call. Like I'm not gonna fold a five. I'm obviously not folding sevens. Uh, if it had a deuce, I would really not like it. But you're beating all my deuces anyway. So you kind of do this. Your bet has this kind of reverse uh, consequence than what you want, which is that you
Mm-hmm.
get every better hand or most better hands continue and most worse hands fold. So so it's interesting because you want to protect the deuce, but you don't want to overvalue it. If you see what I'm saying.
Right.
Um, so I think it's yeah. I think betting a five would be more reasonable than betting the deuce there. But
Okay.
it's okay. Like I said, I have a lot of cards like I had, just non-paired cards and draws.
Oof.
What did you call it?
Uh, you wouldn't call there? Don't. Wouldn't you bet there with like a king high or something?
I would never bet king high because king high is a reasonable chance to win. I would
But
bluff with some hands that were not
okay.
king high, five high or
But
six
you
high or
don't think I
something.
should have paid that one off, even though I have a pair
No,
on
no,
board?
I didn't see what you had.
Oh, I had a pair. I had a seven.
Oh, of course, always call.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Absolutely.
I was like, I feel like
No,
I
no, I
need
didn't see
to.
that. Sorry, I just didn't see what you had. No, no,
Oh
absolutely
yeah. Sorry.
seven.
Sorry. Yeah. I had a seven jack. I think something like that.
No, no, Jack was on the board.
Oh, then I had. I don't know. I don't
Yeah,
remember.
it's fine with you. Whatever you have with the seven is a call for sure. Yeah, sorry, I flashed and I missed it.
Yeah. 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 No. 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 This is a fold.
So, so just to be clear, right? Like, when we had more chips, I was making it 10,000, or not we, right? But the effective stack, right? The effective
Okay.
stack, because I have less than you, is my stack, which is about 74 big blinds.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm making it nine. If we had like 85, 90, 100, 110 big blinds, I'd make it 10 big blinds. So that's a subtle thing. It's not a big difference, but at this point, I feel like you're picking up so much that I can make these subtle comments to
Oh,
you.
I think
Like
that stuff will
I'm
be
adjusting,
hard for
I'm
me.
adjusting my size based on the stack size.
Yeah.
And as the stack size gets a bit smaller, I'm willing to go a little bit smaller.
Mm-hmm.
How is your stream enjoying this, by the way? Is it cool? Is it okay?
Do you guys like it? Chat? I think so. It's a bunch of other poker pros arguing on what the right thing to do is. I think I glance over and it's two people with egos. I love you guys. I'm just kidding. I'm not really kidding, but it's like two egos like arguing over each other. You know who you are.
I would say that most of the time when that happens, it's actually not like pros or high stakes players. It's oftentimes guys who have a sense for how to play,
Right.
but are generally not
I mean,
super.
they're all nice. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Everyone
I
in
know.
chat's a backseat gamer who's,
Yeah,
made
well,
millions in poker.
yeah, but that's a big thing in poker too. Is everybody? It's not super obvious what to do in a lot of spots, and it's not like you can just check a chess engine or something and
Hmm.
tells you what to do. So it's there's everybody has an opinion, and a lot of opinions, different opinions are somewhat valid, but it's not always clear what the answer is. Oh no, what is this? This is so annoying for my hand. Um, yeah, I don't think I can hold my giant. Whoa. So I just want to caution you. I'm going to fold. I have king six of hearts, so I'm
I
definitely going
have
to fold.
queen jack. I have
Yeah,
a
yeah. So
straight draw and I want to
yeah,
bully worse hands out. But
no,
then
no,
the
no,
queen came and it was perfect, no?
yeah, yeah, yeah. So okay, your bet on the flop was very good.
Hmm.
Uh, I think sometimes you could check, but betting generally is very good. You bet on the turn is very good. You just have a good hand.
I have a
What
good
the thing I
hand.
want to caution you against, and against Alexandra, I'm not sure this will be that relevant. But if you play a pro or an experienced player,
And
you
I'm
have to be
always this
very.
aggressive, then he's
No,
only
no,
he's
no. Yeah, just I'm kind of leading up to what I'm saying, and I'm
okay, okay,
getting to
sorry.
it. No, it's okay. My point is just you got to be really careful about the timing. Like it was very obvious to me that you loved your hand, how you were just like, boom, let's go. Yeah,
Oh,
like type that you were
yeah.
like so happy to see that card. You just bet instantly and bet large, and I was like, oh,
Oh,
this
that's a
is
queen.
the
Yeah.
hand of her hand. It's like I didn't know what to
Okay.
bet, but I was like I would be really scared here unless I had a super good hand.
Okay, okay.
Um,
So timing. That's a good call. Yep.
Yeah, so in general, like
Uh-huh.
obviously you could try to use that against me, but I would say avoid trying to trick people and just like with the ranges and with the bet sizes, just try to do something somewhat consistent. So like
Yes.
in general, if you have a good hand, or sometimes with a complete trash hand, you kind of know what you want to do. And so
Okay, yeah.
you're
If I have a bluff and I bet right away, it looks better too, right? Same thing.
that's not what I meant. What I meant is just that the information you're giving away is that you know what to do with your hand. So you're essentially saying, I don't have an intermediate hand. I don't have a difficult decision.
Oh,
That is
so
not
I want to
information
stay
you give away at
consistent with my
all.
timing so that
Yeah,
I'm not.
exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
would say like, think about how much time it would take if you did have a somewhat difficult decision. Let's say you
Right.
would take 4 or 5
That makes a
seconds
lot of
and
sense.
and then do that every time. And it's a little bit frustrating to
Yeah.
do and for people to watch because it's like, I'm not saying take a ton of time. It'll take 30 seconds or whatever. Some people really take a lot of time. But just try to like breathe, take your time, don't force, don't rush. Just because like, you're like if you were playing a computer, it wouldn't matter. You know what I
Right,
mean?
right. That
And they're
makes a
gonna,
lot of sense.
yeah.
Ooh.
You nervous?
No.
No, she goes, no. Okay.
I have a okay. So I don't think I have the better hand. Actually, I might have the better hand, but I don't think I pay it off. Right? I have a jack and queen. So I have a queen high. So
You
I
don't even have a pair. You want to call? You don't have a pair. You
yeah,
gotta have
but
at
what
least
I'm
a.
doing, you're not bluffing.
Okay, I am bluffing.
I knew it. But I always want to call it down though, which is wrong.
Yeah,
So
yeah. But you gotta be real careful, just because
I
again,
know,
you
I
want to think.
know.
You want to think about what your range. Did you have a club in your hand?
One, yes.
So I actually think in that type of situation, when
Mhm.
you have a hand like you had,
Mhm.
and it has a relevant card to the situation like a club, I think calling is not a great idea, but you could consider raising there. Like it sounds maybe
Mm.
aggressive and almost kamikaze, but like you're having a perfectly reasonable
Yeah.
candidate to raise. And make a pretty big raise. Sometimes you'll just have a flush, right? You just said sometimes you have really big hands, like something super big, and you just check to get your opponent to bet and then raise
Yeah.
them. You need to have some bluffs when you do that, because otherwise, if
Right.
you never have bluffs, then they can just always fold to you.
Right.
Um, so yeah, that's I think a reasonable candidate to bluff. Pretty big. I bet 7,000, making it 25 or 30 or something. It's scary, because like you don't have anything, you're risking a lot, but it's going to work a lot. So again, I think my inclination here is that when you bet this size, that you either have a bluff that you're trying to get away with a cheap bet, or you have a kind of weak hand that you're just trying to extract a little bit of value from. I think in general this is like okay to do, but
Uh-huh.
my advice is to kind of always bet the same size. And
Wasn't
in
that the
general,
same size though? It was one quarter of the pot.
right? Okay, right. But it's check and on the turn, so that's different. So
Oh.
I mean, we haven't really talked about that. So I
Yeah, we
mean,
didn't talk about it. So I was just going with the board was not connected and not really suited too
if
much.
you bet the flop, that would definitely be
Okay,
the
the right
strategy.
bet size, but it was the
And,
turn. Okay,
yeah,
let's
but
just see it down. Haha, I got lucky.
so yeah, so I think the eight is close. I think you might want to bet for value. You might want to definitely consider betting for value when you hit the eight. I'm pretty unlikely to have a king, and sometimes I have a nine, but oftentimes I have a hand that's worse than an eight. Um,
Well,
but yeah, so
it felt
so
like he could have the nine, so I got scared.
no, it's totally reasonable.
Because the pot was already reasonably sized.
Well, no, actually, the pot was quite small because it was
Oh.
just a single raise and a small bet.
Uh,
So, ooh, hello. So yeah, I think in check lines when you bet the turn, um, I think in general your bet size, you probably want to make it a bit larger, at least 2/3
okay.
to 3/4. Um, yeah, again, this is a subtle thing, and there's going to be plenty of good strategy that involves different size bets. But just to make it less complicated, oh my God, she's going to try to bluff me. I can't believe it.
No, no, I had a. I'll explain it after.
Oh,
I had threes, but then it
you
was
got counted.
nothing. Yeah. That's why I was like, because
Well,
I had a good hand, and then.
I think that makes sense to maybe try to bluff there.
But you're not gonna fall for it after playing this long.
Well, yeah, falling for it is not the frame that I would use, right? Because it's like sometimes you do have a hand you can bet for value, right? Sometimes you might even bet an ace there, um, right? You might even think an ace was good. So I just think whenever you have some credible good hands, you need to pair some bluffs with those credible
Yes,
good hands.
true.
And your seven is somewhat relevant. I mean, you do interact with the board in a relevant way. Plus, it's very hard for you to have a worse hand than that. Like when you're not sure what hands to bluff, just thinking about what your range is and picking the worst hands that you can have. We're talking about on the river. I think is a very reasonable
This
starting point.
this one was so close. It was Queen five suited.
If I see what I think is a call.
No. I'm looking at the chart. It says 0.
I don't think I sent you this chart.
Oh.
Did I send you a chart? I sent you a response to 3-bet chart?
um. Well, what is the last chart exactly? I thought that's what the last chart was. No.
No, the last chart is the 3-bet range.
Oh, but
That's
then,
the hand you
but if
get.
I would fold a 3-bet, then why would I call it against a 3-bet?
So you're not okay. So the queen five suited in this chart is gray, not because you folded, but because you just call the original raise.
Uh,
All the other hands you re-raise, but the queen five suited you don't fold, you just call. And it's right. You're out of position, so it's just a very different proposition. When you just now you were in position with queen five suited. Again, queen five suited is I think somewhat close. I mean I think it's pretty clear call, to be honest. And
Okay.
we haven't talked about that range really.
okay.
So remember before I was like, I have a queen. What is my other card? It's close, and you
Yeah.
immediately said 9, and you were right. So like your intuition about what hands are good enough to call and fold are again is very good. Like for someone who doesn't really play poker, it's extremely good. Um, but queen five suited, I think, is a hand that you probably do want to call.
That's annoying. I think I
Why?
fold. I have 6 ace, so I have ace high. I don't think you're bluffing this time.
Yeah, ace high is interesting. I actually am bluffing. I have the king of hearts and the 4 of clubs, right? So
Oh.
so funny. But my hand, like, I'm picking some very particular cards, right? Like, generally speaking, I don't think it's great to bluff with king high. But like, I block a straight, and I have the king of hearts. Oh, that was very rude.
But this is right though, right?
Oh, I'm sure it's right. I was just joking.
I can't do it.
I'm gonna make you play a pot though. Let's go.
Okay.
Hello. And I do this rainbow.
And now I would. I'm out of position.
Yeah. Okay. So you're out of position, but you're the one that is the last aggressor because you re-raise.
So I should continue the story of I have a freaking good hand.
Yeah, we need to talk too much about how to play 3-bet pots. It's a very important
Okay.
topic, and we will get to it a little bit. I think, in general, on this board, you want to bet almost every time or
Okay.
every time. It's very hard for me to have a good hand.
Okay. Yeah.
And you have, like you said, you've been telling a story that you got aces, kings, queens. You have some good hands.
But you're betting into me.
Well, yeah. I mean, I can have some stuff, right?
Yeah, but you don't. But you don't.
Wait, what is this? All right, this is like not. This is some absolute nonsense. This is crazy. You are taking me to the streets with this raise. This
Why?
is a hood raise from a nonsense hand. You are correct that I don't have anything and I'm a fold.
That's
But
right. You are. Pay me. I'm ace queen.
yeah, that's an interesting raise there. I think honestly, Ace Queen is just like really plays very fine as a call. Like
Okay.
you're right in the sense that your hands have been, and you just let me see whatever free cards for my small bet.
But the pot
Um,
was so big.
yeah, no, I know, but it just Ace Queen like it's just yeah. I just if I call there, you are in no man's land.
But you
If you don't hit
did
Ace Queen, you're just like, oh no, what do I do now? I think you can just you just it's just hard. Yeah, I think it's fine,
Doesn't
but
it
in
matter
general.
a little less what I have, more so what you believe?
No, that I will not go on record allowing a challenge.
No? Isn't
Uh,
it just about convincing you on what I'm selling?
talk
Anyway, I have
about
to fold this.
poker. I feel like we're talking about another subject again. I
No,
think
isn't that poker though? I mean, the better hand doesn't always win. It's whoever wins the pot.
that's true. I just think what we want to do is we want to make the most profitable play with
Yes, and
the
that's not.
hand
I
we have
see.
within our range. So your hand plays really well as a check call because it's often just the best hand, right? You don't want to take a hand that is very likely to be the best hand and then start bluffing with it because you have better candidates. So if you had a hand like Jack 10, like that would be a much better hand. Because like maybe I have a hand like Queen 10, and
Okay.
now
Yeah.
Jack 10's getting a better hand to fold. But if
Right.
I have a better hand than Ace Queen, I'm not folding. So you just don't
Right.
achieve
So it's not
you just
good.
don't achieve what you want with that hand. And
Mm.
that's very common among
I
less
still
experienced
don't
players.
really get it. Yeah, yeah. Oh, that's a concept I think I have to go deeper into.
It's just about again when you're focusing on the individual situation and um, and your hand itself does matter because you want to think about what your hand looks like relative to the rest of your hands. So
Hmm.
you don't want to be bluffing with ace queen because you have better candidates to bluff with, and you don't want to be bluffing all the time. If you see
Right.
what I'm saying.
Right. Right. Right.
So yeah, I mean, and also in general, like it's just very hard for you to tell a credible story there. Three
Right.
bet check raise on the 9-9 deuce.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes you just do that with aces or kings or something like that, and sometimes you have a nine. General, hey, what are you doing?
This sucks.
Just got tense in here.
Sucks because I think I have to pay the straight. I have a 6. I think it hurts to not pay the straight. Like you're
Oh,
telling me that you have a straight, and I believe you have a straight, but am I really folding my trips in heads up? Like, am I really folding my 6? Like,
I,
can you really fold a 6 here?
I don't think so.
Yeah,
I
so I
mean,
have to call it, right?
I have a straight, but I don't think you can fold a six.
You do have a straight, but yeah, I don't think I can fold it. I don't think I can fold it, right?
Yeah, six. Yeah, I do have a straight.
I know, but you wouldn't fold that, would you?
No, I would not fold that.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like you had it, but at the same time, like, I don't think I could ever fold that.
Yeah.
I was trying to play it slow, and I played it really well, and I had the best hand until it freaking.
Yeah, so I think on paired boards like that,
Uh-huh.
I think a good heuristic to use is to essentially raise half the time that you have trips. Because on one hand, you're right, there's value in slow playing because
Hmm.
it looks weak, I can bluff you, and you're disguising the strength of your hand, and you want to have some much weaker hands that you play that way.
Yeah.
On the other hand, you have a really good hand, and generally speaking, in poker, when you have a good hand,
You want
you
yeah,
want
but
to
it
put
felt
money.
like, it felt like safe, and then it wasn't safe all of a sudden.
Yeah, it's not just about it being safe, right? Because what you also want to do is you want to get the most value from your
Yes,
hand.
that makes sense.
So like if if I um, if you don't want me to kind of be able to get away with some medium strength hand that only loses a few chips to your trips. You want to punish me, right, and make me pay when you have a really good hand.
Mm-hmm.
And at the same time, you also want to be thinking about hands that you will be bluffing in that situation with, because that's another reason that you want to be raising with trips is to be able to pair those good hands with bluffs and make even more money by bluffing and getting me to fold some weaker but stronger than your hand, but still not that good hands. If
Yeah.
that makes sense. Uh,
See, I don't know what to do in this spot. You're saying I have a king or a queen, right? That's like what you're saying.
I think if I had a king and some queens, I would bet larger. I'm saying usually I have maybe a weak king, more likely a weak queen or a nine, or even like two sixes, two sevens,
I
two.
have two sixes.
I don't think you can fold two sixes to the flop.
Exactly. So I would call, right? And then
Yeah,
just
yeah.
just pay
It's-
because for this price you would just pay it, right? But
Yeah,
then
yeah.
what
So
would
it's
you
not,
what would you do if you bet like pot?
if I bet pot, you have a diamond?
No, I don't think so.
I think without a diamond, no.
Okay.
With a diamond is a pretty important aspect of
Because
your
I
hand.
block one of yours, right?
When I bet small, it's much less important. But when I bet big, now I'm starting to represent. I'm starting to claim that I have a flush as a much bigger percentage of my range, right? When I bet small, you're right. I could have a queen, maybe a king, a nine, something like that. But when I bet big, I don't have a. I don't even have many queens. I have like a king, two pair, and flushes and stuff.
Yeah.
So having a diamond becomes much more important to block me having a flush. Oh
Oh,
my. Did you meant to three? Did you meant to re-raise?
yeah. No. Wait, this is just. Oh, I messed up. It's fine.
Is that good?
It actually worked out.
Oh, I didn't even do that. I meant to bet much bigger. I hit the wrong button. I'm sorry.
uh, but I think I continue.
So again, like you check super fast.
So
I
I
would,
know
I would,
you don't have a great hand.
I don't know that. I'm just, again, I try to be very careful when
The
I
timing,
talk
with
about.
timing.
Well, no, what I'm saying when I talk about the confidence I have in stuff. So like I almost never say like I know stuff
Yeah.
in poker because I try to use factors to slightly influence my opinion.
I
Like
have a
I'm the
5-10. So I felt like okay, and I feel like I can call a lot of hands because I don't think you have it a lot of the time. You might have an ace, but unlikely, right? Because you didn't really bet too much.
Yeah, when the ace came, I checked.
Yeah,
Um,
so I don't think you have an ace, and I have a 5, which I mean is weak, but it's not that weak, right?
yeah, I mean, I think if you had a seven, you'd probably bet yourself. I think a six is much closer, and a five, you can kind of flip a coin.
See, I would do this. But you had the ace!
So,
Okay.
so it's pretty common, at least the way I approach it, to check back the top pair with some of my weakest kickers. So like if I had had ace jack or ace 10 when the ace came, I would bet.
Right.
But when I have ace four, I'm very happy to just check and then basically consider my hand a two bet hand. So I bet once already, and I'm going to bet the river. And it disguises my hand a little bit. You didn't believe I had it, so that's helpful. I could definitely bet if I wanted to, but it's something I do sometimes where if I have a weak kicker with my top pair, I'll just check and
Whoa.
here. Yeah, so this is the type of situation where it's like you are going to have a lot more high cards than me. Like, I don't have ace queen and ace jack and ace king and stuff like that, and it's just in general not a great spot for me.
But
At
would
the
I
same
bet
time,
it? I don't think so, right?
I think if you had ace high, you could definitely consider starting to bet some value if your kicker was good. Also, you'll have some like weak hands. Maybe you'll have some two sevens, two sixes. Those are good hands that definitely want to start betting.
Okay, I'll just check it down.
I think you should be checking some 6x as well. Sorry, some 8x on the flop. Like you don't want to bet all of your eights. Um,
I have a queen high.
Yeah, queen high seems a bit too weak to try to call. I think ace high for sure you
But
should
what if
consider
I
calling.
had bet first?
Well, I would fold because I have nothing.
Yeah, I feel like you have nothing. So, but then you're saying you have something, but yeah. I mean, I'll fold because but it's so hard for me to fold. I think I need to fold more in general. You knowing me, I feel
Yeah,
like I need to fold more. That's one of my issues. Is like I don't believe you ever. I don't
yeah,
believe it almost ever.
I think so. Part of the issue, though, I think, is that you are ending up on the river with too many weak hands. So I
Mm,
think you should be taking some more of your weak hands. Like, I don't know, what did you have with your queen?
four, I think.
Yeah. So I
It
think
was
you should
queen
bet
four
the flop.
suited. It was queen four
I think you
suited.
should bet the flop with that hand.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Because you don't want to just only bet like when you have good hands or good
Yeah,
equity,
yeah,
and then
yeah,
check all your trash hands, and then be left on the river with a bunch of junk.
yeah.
Um, so yeah, you wanna kind of distribute your weak hands throughout um, every part of the hand. And again, you have the big advantage on the flop, so you can include a bunch of your weak hands in your betting strat. So I'm back up to 10, right? Because we are playing basically back to 100 big
Is
blinds.
this 6-10 suited? Would I call this?
Yeah, if you can make a straight flush, you almost always call.
I see.
Okay, that's not good for you, but it's good
No.
for me. Well, I don't know if you have diamonds, but in general, this is a board that is much better for my range.
Right.
And so on this board, so in three bet pots, we'll talk about our betting strategy, but on ace high, ace like ace, and then the other two cards below a 10, and king and the other two cards below a 10, um, we're gonna just use the same strategy as we do in single raise pots. So we're gonna bet almost all of our hands and bet a small size.
Would you continue? I have hearts.
That's very, very interesting. 6-10 of hearts to this
There's
size.
seven
I think,
eight as like backdoor straight, and then there's backdoor flush, but it's
yeah, so
unlikely.
this is essentially always a continue, yeah. It,
Really?
it's yeah, it's one of the weakest hands you continue, but because if you think about what my strategy
Uh
is,
huh.
which is like I said, I'm betting almost all of my hands.
Right.
I happen to have a good hand. I have ace
Right.
jack, so
Mhm.
I'm a bet again, and you're gonna fold, and that's fine.
I have to fold,
But
right? Yeah, yeah. I can't
yeah,
bluff
well
this
now,
time.
yeah, I mean, you're really, really looking to improve your hand,
Right.
or for me to slow down.
Mhm.
And I actually have to slow down a bunch because I have a bunch of hands that are not that great. I mean, like you've seen the range, right? I have
Yeah.
Jack tens suited and King tens. I have all these hands that are not great. I happen to have in that situation Ace Jack, so I just get to bet
Right.
a bunch. But yeah, you get to steal the pot from me when I check a bunch. Now your intuition again is just like spot on, I think, because
Oh,
you were like
thank you.
a little skeptical of whether you should call that hand, but you definitely didn't want to just fold it right away, and that's just like exactly right. That's a very kind of close spot, and to be quite honest with you, the size that I bet is very relevant. So if
Mhm.
I bet half pot, I think you have to start considering folding that hand. But because I bet so small, that's when you can start um, doing that.
Yeah, it's a
So
good price to see it. Mhm.
on paired boards, I would advise to bet much smaller.
Oh, I thought
I
you
know
said this
it's a
one is
low
to
card board.
bet bigger. Like,
I know it's a low card board, but it's a paired board, and that paired boards are very unique in that sense. And so our raise size on paired boards is also going to be very small. Um, it's just like it's a weird dynamic around the trips. If I raise too big, I allow you to play a reasonably straightforward strategy. Okay. I should have known when you like weren't engaging with the nonsense I was talking that you were going to do something gangster. Um, okay, I don't know what exactly you're doing. I have a hand that makes sense as a raise, but I don't think I can continue to this. I have a pocket pair. I have pocket deuces below the three. So like, yeah, I mean, you just win. I don't know what to tell you.
I
Good
had
job.
five A's. Should I just have called and then tried to continue
Yeah,
it?
yeah. So that's the thing. I think with your particular hand, um, and this is going to be true in a lot of spots, right? I just want to go through what the arguments are because there are arguments on both sides. Okay, the
Yeah, I'm
argument
scaring you out of paying me, right?
the argument for calling is that you allow all my hands to continue to see the next card.
Yeah.
Right? So I have some bluffs, I have some medium strength hands like I had, and then I have some fives, I have a bunch of stuff. And so you allow all those hands to continue, and that's good. It's very hard for me to end up ever beating your hand, so you're not really that worried about that. On the flip side, if I have like a five, like I'm never gonna fold, and you're gonna win all of the chips. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So like if you had a worse kicker with your five, like, like 5-7 or something, I would never raise, because now if I have a better five, you lose. So you really want, your hand gets extra value from my bluffs. But since you cooler, the worst fives, right? You beat them. It makes sense to try to build a bigger pot. Now, those considerations are offsetting, and different people will have different points of view. And a lot of situations that are close in poker end up mixed. So maybe that hand is like a bit of a mix at a theoretical level. But in general, like, I just want to make sure you get what the arguments are, so you can think through the situation like yourself. And hopefully you see the difference between ace-5 and 7-5 in that situation.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not folding a flush.
Okay.
I just have a weaker one. My one! Gross. But I can't fold that, right?
I don't know, how high was your heart?
6.
Oh, that's a bit lucky. No, for sure it can't.
Yeah, you can't fold a flush there, right? Even if I had a 2 of... Would you fold that?
No, you can't fold. No.
Yeah, you can't. Okay, good.
Absolutely.
I feel like I didn't know there's some hands when it's like I have to pay this, but it sucks.
Yeah, for sure.
So it feels doomed, but what are you gonna do? Fold that? Like, no.
It's very lucky. I have the 7 of hearts when you have the 6 of hearts. I mean, the situation can easily just be reversed, and there's nothing to. Yeah, and that's one of the psychological aspects of poker that's really, really like, you seem very kind of even keeled and like reasonable.
No,
like,
do I?
Yeah, I mean, okay, I'm just getting to know you, but I just mean like it's very easy for people who don't have experience with poker to like to get really frustrated at the aspects of the game that they can't control.
Oh yeah,
right?
yeah. But as long as you're doing the right thing, even if pocket aces loses an all in, it's still like correct to all in with them.
Yeah, and also like I think even if you make a mistake, but you like think through the situation well, like that's really the best that you can ask for. You know what I mean? Like I think people are too used to situations in which their results are also a pretty good predictor of how well they did at something.
Right.
But
Results
in poker,
oriented.
they're so disconnected. Your results and how well you made decisions to get those results are often very, very, very disconnected in poker.
Yeah, I mean that's.
Yeah, so that's like, it's just there's this cliche, right, of not focusing on the results and focusing on the process or the decision making, all that stuff, and that's true. I just think poker really puts that to the test for a lot of people.
This is an interesting one. I have 10-9 offsuit, no spade.
It doesn't sound that interesting, actually.
So I would just fold. Sorry.
Yeah, 10-9 with a spade, I think, is much more interesting. Without a spade, I think.
Yeah, you just fold it, right?
Yeah.
Because like, what am I trying to do with this? Not too much.
Yeah, that's an interesting spot, actually, because there's been a situation that we haven't seen yet that is actually going to be somewhat common. Maybe not with Alexandra, but with pros, which
Let's
is.
worry about Alexandra first, because I have to beat that one to go on, right? Isn't it? Is it single limb? I have no idea.
Yeah. You have to beat her to move on.
Okay,
yeah.
well then I would rather just focus on.
Which is when we bet the flop in position, and then the turn is a brick. We haven't ever used the overbet size.
Right.
Not yet at all, and that's a thing that's like relatively common. So I just want to hopefully get to that situation at least once. Okay, this is a reasonably low board. I get to use a big size. I'm not going to bet my hand.
So that's not a good turn card for me because
it's an okay but not great turn card. I agree. If I were you, I would be betting some of my tens, most of my jacks. If I had a better hand than one pair, I would be sometimes checking, sometimes betting. And then I would bet some draws. I'd bet some straight draws and some flush draws. Um,
Mhm.
and that would be the majority of my betting strategy. I wouldn't be betting that often though.
Oops. So here to bet, I would bet like half pot, or would you do a
I,
min
I
bet?
would probably bet either smaller or larger. Because like, sometimes you just have a four and you're trying to bet sneaky little value. Yeah, and also now, like if you bet larger, the exact hand I have would be, I think, a little bit easier for me to fold. I have a deuce.
Hmm.
I think to the small bet, I think pretty clearly I can't fold any pairs. So
So I fucked up. I should have done a bigger one. I have 6 7, so I have nothing. But
yeah, it's
my
interesting.
only way to get through is to, because I would lose checking it down, right? So don't you want to bluff in that spot?
That makes perfect sense to do that.
Right.
Uh, I'd be more inclined to bet bigger.
Bigger.
Um,
Okay. So
but
bigger on
yeah,
the
just,
bluffs, because otherwise it's too cheap not to pay off.
yeah, that's the key is the pot
Okay.
odds that you give me.
Okay.
The flip side is that you know you give yourself a cheaper price. But
Because I think you fold a
oh,
lot
oops,
of those hands that are like a high
ace
card or something.
king.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
for sure. So I
Wait, why
made a
did you
mistake.
re-raise with that? Oh,
No, I just
okay.
made a mistake. I meant to make it 10,000, but I just clicked the
So
raise
should I
button instead of.
play it like it was 10,000 then?
Um, sure.
So I
Why don't you
would,
make it 10,000? Why don't you make it 10,000 now?
well, because I don't want to bet it if it's 10,000.
Nobody saying I'll just call and it'll be like I made it
No,
10,000.
no,
We'll
no,
go
but
over.
I might fold if you had bet 10,000.
Oh, yeah. Okay, sure.
Well, I
Yeah.
have,
So you
oh
can
wait, this
call.
one I think I'm actually supposed to continue.
Okay.
Well, I don't know. You didn't give me the chart, so I don't know.
Uh,
I have ace nine offsuit, which is kind of a
yeah,
weaker ace, right?
ace nine is very close. I think
Oh,
theoretically it is a call to the 10,000. Um, I don't always love to call that hand because it's annoying to play, but yeah, it is technically a call. I
because
think if
ace
you're
nine is weaker than ace five, yeah?
it's very close, ace six is bigger than ace five. Ace nine is pretty good. Ace nine and ace five, ace nine is maybe a bit stronger. Um, I think ace nine, yeah, I think you should probably call it against most people. But if you're playing somebody you think is a little tighter, you can consider folding it.
Hmm.
I had a random student. Okay, bet.
Why would you ever small bet on the river with zero value? Oh, because I'm trying to get hands to fold. That's right.
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah. So I think the majority of the range that you bet small with should be for value, but sometimes you should have some bluffs for sure.
Mm-hmm.
If you never bluff that, then I can really exploit you by
Yeah,
folding
yeah,
it.
yeah.
Yeah, so you have to keep me honest by having some bluffs for sure. It's always the trickiest question is always like, what is your mix? What is your balance?
Right.
Which hands do you choose? Which hands do you put in which bet size? That's always the question.
I am out, I think. I don't think you have much, but I probably still have to be out. What'd you have?
What do you have?
Six
I
king of
had
hearts.
Okay, yeah, so I think you play your hand quite well. I had Jack of Spades, Eight of Diamonds. So the Eight of Diamonds is an interesting card, right? Because I have a
Yeah.
diamond and
Flush
then
draw.
also have an eight, which is relevant
Mm-hmm.
for the straight, and also like my hand is gets to accomplish what it did accomplish, right? Which is
Yep.
gets your hand, which is better than my hand to fold. So if I had like, King Jack with a diamond, I would be much less likely to bluff because it's like you folding King Six of Hearts is just not great for me. Like I don't really benefit from that.
Mm-hmm.
If you see what I'm saying. But the Jack Eight really benefits from getting better Queen, King, and Ace high hands to fold. Um, okay, so again, since this is such a connected board where you can make a straight, I wouldn't mind a slightly smaller bet from you, but your bet is fine.
Wait,
Um,
I thought
yeah,
on
so
these
it's low,
ones, I thought
low boards that where you cannot make a straight, I think, are a bit better. But it's fine. It's absolutely fine.
I thought it was the opposite. I thought on boards that you can make the straight, you want to see the a bigger
Oh, I
bet.
I don't mean where there's a straight draw. I mean where you can already have a straight. In other words, like when like two aces could just be drawing dead. I don't love to pile money in.
Oh,
Um,
so here I have it. It's hard to continue for me because I have an eight of spades and a jack of diamonds.
yeah, so
So,
I think your bet is very good. I think that's exactly the right kind of hand to bet.
so would you
I'm
continue
making
this?
no for sure.
Yeah, I have to
No.
fold it, right?
Yeah, and I'm making a kind of an aggressive raise. I have the
Mm-hmm.
queen of clubs and the five of spades.
Right.
So,
Mm-hmm.
so I have a spade in my hand, which is helpful. I have a
Yeah.
five, which is a straight draw, and then I have this queen, which is an overcard to the board, but also going to get a lot of better hands to fold
Mm-hmm.
and just like pairs well with my really good hands like
Yeah.
straights and stuff. But the Jack of Diamonds, Eight of Spades combination is like a really I think really good type of hand to bet in that spot. And
Yeah.
then like on a nine, on a 10, on a five or a four, on a diamond, you have all these different cards that can come on the turn that you can continue to put pressure on me with.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
I think so.
So this is like a classic good board for me. King high. I get to bet a lot of my hands and bet small.
Mm-hmm.
I think most of your queen highs have to continue, all of your ace highs. Um, my hand is very close.
$5,500. So I think you know I don't have like a king or a queen, but
I don't think you should ever, almost ever have a king here.
but I do have a four.
You have a four?
I have a four, yes.
You have a four. Yeah, that makes sense that you have a four. I think if you had a queen or a king, you should have bet yourself most of the time. Um,
But if you know that once you play, so
I would draw sometimes for sure, but I also can bet a nine for value and also bet some kings and then a bunch of queens here for value.
so I should
I,
fold. Oops.
no,
Right.
no, no. I'm not saying you should fold. I mean, here I'm bluffing, and I have this.
Ah, I wanted to call it. Okay, I'm gonna do.
I just think it's close. Like the thing
It
is
is
that like,
close, right? Because you're gonna have it some of the time. So like, how often do I have to call the play?
yeah. I'm putting you in tough spots. Like I'm not.
No, 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 no,
Like,
no. But I want to call it every time. That's the problem. But I'm trying not to call it every time.
right. So I think it's the same thing with the 50% hands and all this stuff.
Yeah,
Is
yeah, yeah. I have to make some
you
sort
need
of
a
a
little
rule
bit
for
of
myself.
we'll start to develop a kind of mechanism for not relying on your gut and then not
Mm-hmm.
making the same decision every time, but starting to randomize and mix up our
Yeah,
decisions
yeah,
to
yeah.
make it, because you're right, a four probably should fold sometimes and should call sometimes. Well, then how do we decide which one we're
Right.
doing? That becomes the question.
Okay.
Uh,
You know, you're saying you have like a queen.
I think more I'm saying I have a king or better. I think if I had a queen, I would bet small. Like this is pot full pot, right? So I'm saying maybe I have ace high that turned into trips, or I have a king that I'm not really concerned. You have an ace because two of them came and you didn't bet. So I think and my value with my kicker with the king doesn't matter, right? It's like the queen kicker on the board. So
So
all
if you
like king
have the
deuce.
lowest pair, if you have eight, what do you
I would
think?
never do this with king. Like I might be bluffing, right? I might have Jack nine, I might have four two of hearts or something. I might have some bluffs, but I definitely don't have an eight because an eight is too good to bluff and not good enough to bet for
I'm
value.
saying I had the eight. Ooh, David, yay!
Oh,
My husband's coming to Cabo.
awesome!
Yeah,
Say
because
that.
I begged the congresswoman um to yeah, because that's the only way. Because to expedite your passport.
That's
Uh,
amazing. Oh, I saw
yeah.
somebody else. I saw the New Jersey governor. I live in New Jersey. The New Jersey governor expedited someone's passport so they could go on a honeymoon.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
got
for my honeymoon. I said it was for my honeymoon. So it's kind of a lot. But it's kind of true. We got married in April and then we haven't gone anywhere. So
that's awesome. That's
yeah.
congratulations. That's great. I'm excited. I'm excited to meet him.
Yeah, it should be fun. He just got it, and he's on his way back from LA. I live in Vegas.
Oh, you live in Vegas? Oh, I didn't know that.
Where do you live? Oh, you said Jersey, right?
Yeah, I live in Edgewater, New Jersey.
I'm
Right
from
around.
Massachusetts, from close to Boston.
Oh, okay, cool.
This one I can call. I will check.
So even though this card does connect with the board, it connects with the board in a way that really, really favors me, right? You should be three betting a bunch of your king jacks. You should be three betting pocket tens, pocket aces, pocket queens, ace queen. So I have this huge advantage of very, very strong in my range.
Right.
So I can leverage that advantage by betting a very large size.
I have fives.
Okay, well that I've now made your decision incredibly easy.
Yeah.
Imagine if you had a hand like, I don't know, 10-9 or something, like that would be really annoying. But two fives. I had ace queen, by the way. I had a monster.
Right, a good thing I didn't re-raise. I remembered last time you're like, that's not a re-raise. So yeah, I remember that one. This one.
Wow, another monotone board. By the way, we've been playing for 2 hours. Like you're gonna play like your match with Alexander is gonna be so much shorter than this.
Yeah, I played with Finton. Remember? I played like 5 matches. So I kind of know the pace of it. I mean, I know
okay.
every game is a little different, but... So this
Yeah,
one, it's suited connectors. Didn't you... You said you want to bet small, but I thought on these boards you wanted to bet bigger.
Yeah. So if this board was constructed in any other suit way, I would want to bet small. But because they're all the same suit, this is a kind of exception, and I want to bet. Well, no, sorry. I also want to bet small on the monotone boards.
Wait,
So
no. We have to go over bet sizes more.
Yeah, we'll go over them because we'll have some rules and then some exceptions. But yeah, no, it doesn't matter. It's fine. Good luck.
Oh my god. So if I have a club, I would just bet, right?
If you have a club, like for sure bet. I mean, we both have a flush, right? Because the flush is on the board.
It's on the board.
So if no one has a club, we're just going to chunk the pot.
So wouldn't you just always bet here? Because then, you know.
Yes, you have to be careful if you bet because.
Because I'm no. Well, what if I had a bigger one? You're not scared? You're not scared?
No, I mean, you're right that this is the type of situation people try to take advantage of a lot, right? Like if I don't have a club, then I'm calling just to try to get half the pot. Like I don't even win the full pot, right? If neither of us have a club, we just chop. So you're trying to bluff me off a chop, which is very common in that type of spot. Like when the board runs out a flush or a straight, something like that.
Yeah.
Like that's also why I'm gonna check some more of my clubs than I might otherwise, because I know that you're gonna try to steal it. Like, you know?
But I could have it some of the time.
You could, yeah. And if you do, hey, I pay you. You know, I just pay.
This one is... Oh, it's so weird. This one is good enough, I think. Oh, oops, you're already gone. This one is good enough too.
I had nothing.
No, I had King 2, which is like on the cusp, I think, right? For big blind.
I think in single raise pots, you play all the kings.
Okay.
Yeah. If somebody is raising like 3 times the big blind, then actually King 2 starts to become full. But at 2 point, making it 2.2 or 2.5, you can comfortably call with a king. And like we've talked about, I mean, these are all somewhat subtle and close.
I mean, would I just bet like... No, is there a point in betting? Yeah.
I mean, there's always a point, right? Okay, so I don't like the small size in position. I think that you take a risk, right? Part of the reason we bet the small size when we are out of position, on the river, I mean, is because we don't have the option to just close the betting action. Like if you check, I can always bet if you're out of position. When you're in position, I think the strength of the hand that you want to bet should go up a little bit, and so you kind of mostly don't want to bet this small size.
Okay.
Uh, uh, yeah, so that I mean, okay, this was a I have to admit that was a pretty classy bet. Like that was not bad. I like that.
Just because of what I had?
No, just like I just mean in terms of evaluating the strength of your hand. Like
Hmm.
you have this is part of what I mean. Like your instincts and
Yeah, I don't think
intuition.
you have ace, king, or queen, but I
Right.
think you
Yeah.
could have a five or a six, and I have a
Yeah. Yeah.
strong five, because I had
Yeah.
the
You're
strongest five actually, or
strong six.
sorry, the strongest six, because it was ace, king, queen on board. I didn't think you have that, so my jack is the highest.
No, but that's the thing. Your jack. We split the pot because your jack
Oh, it
didn't
didn't
matter.
play.
Yeah, it was
Yeah, so I had
six.
a bet bigger. Right.
Yeah, so I just think my point was just that like your intuition about the strength of your hand is like very, very good most of the time, which is like that's just really impressive given your experience level. I have King Nine offsuit, so what do you think I should do?
You call it, right?
It's like very close. I think against a smaller size, I want to call more often versus a more conservative player, I want to fold more often. Um,
Mm.
I have my inclination is to fold here because I
I
just
had
think the
six,
black.
five suited.
Yeah, so okay, that's nice. Yeah,
Was
I
I
mean,
supposed to? I was supposed to three bet that, right?
yeah, no, that's good. That's perfect.
Right? Okay, perfect.
And you can see the value of three betting it, right? Because I folded my king nine, which is clearly a
Yeah,
better hand.
because I lose some of the
And
time.
king nine is close. Like king nine is definitely close. King eight, I would definitely fold. King ten, I would definitely call. And king nine is close.
Huh. So because it is a colorful board, it's that I can bet small, right?
It's more about the high card on the board.
So because of the high
It's
card, I want to bet more.
no, because of the king, you can bet a small amount and
I still
bet
don't get it. I don't understand the concept, but I will bet the small amount. Boom.
so the concept is basically you have a big advantage when there's a king on the board because most of my strong kings I would re-raise, not call. So you have a big advantage around the king.
Okay. So I
Plus,
can sell that I have a king. Mm-hmm.
well, you can leverage the asymmetry in our ranges, the difference between how many good kings you have and how many good kings I have. You can leverage that in one way. But
Okay.
another part of the reason you can bet quite small is because um, you don't need like protection is much less of an issue, right? If you have a strong one pair hand, you're not really concerned that I will just outdraw you and hit a better hand.
Right.
Whereas, for example, if it was a nine high board and you had a strong nine or pocket tens or
Yeah, you
pocket
could
jack,
still get like a jack and then beat me on the overcard.
yeah, just there are a bunch of overcards that can come
Yeah,
that would
yeah,
just
yeah.
really reduce the strength of your hand. So
Okay.
protection becomes a much more important aspect of the strategy, and so we size up in that case.
Okay.
So this is a good example of this is the nine of clubs is a brick.
Right.
So when you bet, I would like you to bet like
Bigger.
10,000. Yeah,
Yeah, okay, that makes
much,
sense.
right? It's
Oopsies.
such a big difference, right? 10,000 is a
I
huge
had
bet.
pocket threes.
Yeah, so pocket, I totally get you kind of want to bet a bit small because you're like, don't want to scare me out of the pot.
Yeah.
But
It doesn't
you
matter because
should
I have
have,
to be consistent with the bet. It doesn't.
yeah,
Yeah.
but also the thing is, when you bet so big, like 10,000, you
Mm-hmm.
can bet so many. It's not letting me, I don't know, this thing doesn't like me anymore. I don't know what's going
What?
on.
What's not letting you what?
It's not. I don't know. Maybe we'll pass it. But
Huh?
you can bluff so much there. So like in a situation where you're bluffing a lot, it's just so nice to have a hand like two threes. You're like, finally, I'm not bluffing. But you gotta think about all the bluffs that you have, right? You got a bunch of
Right.
straight draws, flush draws. You got a bunch of stuff that you can bet as bluffs, and you just gotta make sure you bet all those hands for big size. And then when you have a set like that, you're just like, oh, you have this amazing feeling because like you're like, finally, I had something good. But yeah, if you only bet super strong hands there, then it's a much less like effective strategy. But yeah, you want to be bluffing your opponents a lot.
I have a 6-8 offsuit. I don't think I can continue that hand.
Yeah, I have five six of diamonds, so actually,
Hmm. But still, I don't. Out of position, I don't think I can continue there, right?
no, definitely not.
So whenever I have a high card, I would still want to just check this down.
Um, no, I mean, if you have king and queen high, and maybe even some jack high, like you just want to mix in some checks. Um, but in general, if you bet, I would bet quite small. And you can be pretty aggressive, right? Because the value of pocket pairs goes up because it's just much harder for me to have something better than two sevens. Means I have to have three of a kind, basically.
Yeah.
Um, and so you have more of those pocket pairs. You have an advantage with the aces. Like I have three bet a bunch of my aces, so I don't have as many as you. And then also just like you just have a stronger range than me, so like you can be pretty aggressive on this board. But yeah, it's easy to be overly aggressive. Okay, yeah. This particular line puts my hand actually into a very difficult situation. I think I have a clear call now. We'll see. What about I do now?
So here, I think I have a queen high, so I missed everything. But I think you could have hit something. So would I just check it anyway?
Yeah, I'm not sure why you think that I would have hit something. Why would the jack make it seem that I would have hit something?
Because I think you might have folded otherwise already.
But in terms of the jack, do you think the jack is likely to help me or not to help me?
No.
Yeah, I agree with that. So, if I had a flush draw, I missed. If I had a straight draw, I missed.
So you
If
would
I had an
call this?
ace,
Or sorry, you would just check this? Or you'd bet it? I wouldn't
um,
really understand what I'm trying to sell, I guess.
yeah, I mean,
So here,
I
I should have bet because then maybe you would have folded your king.
well, yeah, I mean, we don't want to be results oriented and say because you knew what I had that you should have bet. I think in general, if you're going to
Uh-huh.
be aggressive on the turn and then a card comes that doesn't really change
The
very much,
board. Then I
then
should continue it.
and not always, right? Not always. You're right to slow down a little bit because I have called your bet, right? I mean, I have said something
Yeah.
about the strength of my hand. But in general, I think for the most part, you're going to want to continue that aggression. Now, if you're concerned that you're telling a non-credible story, then that's good. I mean, then you can kind of stop yourself from continuing to make a mistake. I think depending on how you play different situations, your story's reasonably
Hmm.
credible. But yeah, I mean, I think if you're going to bet and then check, I think you can just check the turn with the queen. Do you have a flush draw?
No, I didn't.
Okay. Yeah, so I think yeah, I would probably just check the queen on the turn as well, and
Okay.
and and not try to bluff it. But okay. Yeah, these three high card boards, I think you can also just go for a low bet, high frequency strategy. It's
So
just
low bet, high frequency. Yeah.
you have just such it's like it's so hard for me to have such a good hand. I three bet so many hands that are relevant here. Right, this obviously changes stuff, right? Any queen is a straight.
Oh fuck! I meant to bet the last one. That sucks. I mean, you can't have anything, right?
Correct.
Yeah, it's
And
on
you
the
have
board already.
what a trickster. What a trickster. She had a queen. She checked the turn.
No, I meant to bet the turn. That's why I made that
Maybe
noise.
maybe meant to bet on her. I
That
think
was
it's fine
supposed
to
to.
bet the queen sometimes. Um,
Uh,
sometimes. Most of the time bad. Uh,
this one is not good. I think.
I think I'm gonna have to go pretty soon.
Okay. Oh, it is a call. Oh.
I sent you a message in the chat. Okay, so here I get to bet quite small.
Oh, sure.
Um,
After this hand. Chat, we're gonna call it after this hand. Give me a minute to say bye.
yeah, of course.
Okay, so I have a really shit hand. I have seven. Well, it's not really shit. I have 7-3 of clubs. What I really want to pay out here.
7-3 of clubs. Man, you got some tough questions.
This is
So
probably not right. It feels like it's not worth it.
I think you can actually. I think you probably want to mix a bit of check raising and folding. I actually have 5-8 of clubs, so it's gonna be tough for you to make a call.
Yeah.
But yeah, if your clubs were bigger, obviously I would continue.
Okay. Oh wait, let's play one more hand. I like my hand. Unless you were gonna fold this one.
No, we can play it. It's all good.
Ooh, okay, I don't like my hand that much. I think I'm supposed to fold this.
Oh no!
It's a 2-3 of hearts. I don't think I can continue, right? Right? I don't think I can
Yeah,
play.
2-3 parts I think is a bit weak to continue.
Wait, it's a cute hand. Okay, okay. You wanna pause this?
Sure.
Okay. Oh, and you're coming on stream tomorrow too, right?
Yes.
Awesome. Okay, okay. I will be right back then. Let me just end my stream and then, yeah, I'll be right back. I'm meeting here. Okay. Hi, chat. I'm done for now. I'm gonna get coached a little off stream so I have a little bit of, you know, something up my sleeve.